Welcome to Mario Kart Double Dash. Let me just fix something here. Got a little thing going on. How do I do that again? I need to bring back my mic delay because we were doing this on console, obviously, you know, no other way we'd ever do it, right? It's definitely in here. There we go. And so on that mic, I'm gonna give one of these. Let me just, I think that's good. I think that's what it should be. But let me just double check. I think that's the correct number that I've put in before. That I found out was about right. Anyway, we're gonna try it like this. See if everything's good. Mario Kart Double Dash. This is a game I've wanted to stream for a while. I streamed a little bit of it once, and that stream is long gone. So I don't even know what happened to it. Uh-oh, looks like we're gonna have to manage memory card. Uh-oh. What do we got on this memory card? Let's have some fun times here. Oh, we got a no signal. Oh. How do we manage memory cards on Wii? I don't remember. Data management. Okay, well, it's probably like this, right? Nintendo GameCube. What do we got on this GameCube controller? This GameCube memory card. Not much. This is one of these like third-party ones. So we got some Luigi's Mansion data on here. I could probably get rid of that. Pikmin, Zelda Collector's Edition, Wind Waker. We got Twilight Princess. We got. Oh, you know what? Sorry, dude. We can't have this happening. Sorry, it's like my pop filter is actually getting in the way here of this. I'm not sure if that'll be enough. I'm probably gonna just erase that. This last saved on November 9th. I have no idea. November 9th of what year? Probably like 2007, maybe at the latest. That Pikmin one is like almost absolutely the Pikmin file that we did for our 100% stream. Hello. My cursor? My cursor lies over the ocean. Where did it go? Oh, why is he up there? There we go. My goodness. How did the Wii ever catch on, guys? Like, seriously. It's also not 10:25 p.m. That is the correct date, though. I'll give him that. We're going to GameCube. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. We're like 5 minutes into this, and we're already like suffering because the Nintendo Wii interface. So what's my goal for this stream? My goal for this particular stream, I don't know. My goal in general is to try to unlock the characters. So let me just bring that up right now. Mario Kart Double Dash unlocks. So how many characters are there to unlock? Oh, we gotta bring up the games radar. Hold on. All right. Okay. We got a handful of characters and carts to unlock, so we'll try to do some of that. Yeah, there better be room on there. Oh, thank gosh. So here we go. Let's go. Mexico. You know, we're gonna start 50cc. That's probably pretty standard place to start. I'm gonna go with my boys. The Koopa Troop. Oh, this is all we got right now, right? I'm gonna go with the, I'm gonna go with this. Pretty standard little racer. We're gonna go with the Mushroom Cup. Classic. We'll do it in order. We're unlocking Special Cup and All Cup Tour Mirror Mode. Oh boy, this is gonna be so much fun. I do have one teensy little thing that I'm gonna do right now. And that's not that, but my... And don't ask me why it's like this, but... Just because the way I have it set up here, all the audio comes out of the, my computer monitor, so I gotta adjust the volume, because it is rather loud. How did I even do this when I was playing Donkey Kong 64? Anyway, let's go! Finally. So, how old was I when this game came out? When I think about it, probably... Like, I gotta be, like, 8 years old. I was definitely in elementary school. Not my proudest moment of driving there. Never said I was a good Mario Kart player, but I do enjoy playing it quite a bit. Forgot how just how slow you go on 50cc, like... It is a little bit sluggish. And what do you usually top out at like 43 miles per hour here, I guess? Like, I'm like 99% sure you go faster in the other ones. Like, maybe a little bit, but... Listen, I don't know the inner workings of Mario Kart. I just know how to play it. And play it well, obviously. This was the, of course, the sort of go-to multiplayer game. Everybody seemed to have Mario Kart Double Dash. Not everyone had Super Smash Bros. Melee. Like, I had very few friends that actually had it, and so it was super exciting. The friends that did have it, when we could play it at their house. I didn't get it until middle school. By that point, you know, I'm actually playing this, you know, as you saw on the Nintendo Wii, and that became the hot thing when I was in middle school. And that seems like so... not that long ago, but, you know, it was like, oh, that's over half my life ago. Kind of scary. Existential crisis here on the PureSlime Live Extravaganza. Yeah. But, you know, no, here's the thing is that this is such a hassle. I could not find my capture card when I wanted to set this up, so... Like, it was right here. It was right next to my computer in my bin full of cords and crap that, you know, probably no one should ever see just because it's so messy. But it was in there, so I guess I've learned my lesson. I need to clean. But there's no good way, like, here's the thing. If you've never streamed before, like, it's not glamorous because nobody has, like, a nice stream setup unless you're, like a Markiplier or whoever. Like, whoever the hot guys are now. The hot streamers are now. I took the wrong path. This ain't the right path to take at this point in the game. Oh. No, you have to take it on the second lap, right? Anyway. Are there actually more cataquacks on this beach per lap, or is it per, like, difficulty level? There's the old trick. But, like, honestly, once I got it all set up, I was like, okay, well, this is good. And then the video feed just kept cutting out, and then I had to troubleshoot that. Turns out there's like a certain order you gotta like turn things on here, like the monitor versus the Elgato versus the actual like Streamlabs. Because the order really matters. Like, it doesn't seem to like it if you're not doing it in that order. But the stream setups are, like, always, like, a mess. Like, I got cords everywhere. It's just such a disaster here, and I'm glad, you know, I don't have a camera to show it off. Or I do have a camera to show it off, I'm just glad it's not hooked up. 90% of the reason why I don't use a camera is just, like, because my setup is a disaster. And if your setup isn't a disaster, I'm gonna assume you're being paid for that. Like, that's your full-time job or something. Peach Beach. I swear, if I don't actually get, like, gold on all the 50cc cups, like, I'm gonna lose my mind. Because that will just be a testament to how bad of a Mario Kart player I am. But the primary reason, like, why I wanted to stream Mario Kart Double Dash is mostly to sort of reflect on... I guess just, like... And I do this with, like, every game, and every streamer does this with every game, but... You know, wow, what was it like when you were a kid playing this game? And it's so strange because the feel of it comes back to you, like, immediately, even if I haven't really played this very much in, say, the past 10 years. Like, the feeling of playing it, like, almost every afternoon, like, constantly, like, that comes back. It's like riding a bike. Admittedly, you're about just as good as you were when you were, you know, 7, 8 years old, but... still. And I've been thinking a lot about just, like, general questions about nostalgia lately. Been writing a book mostly about it. But I do have some other ideas. And I'm not sure how... Oh my god. I'm not sure how I'm gonna implement them. I'm trying some things YouTube-wise, and will be trying some things in the future. But if you are watching this on YouTube, you know this is probably on what is called my second channel now, which was, you know, my second channel before, but now it's my second channel, you know? Probably more like my 5th second channel, to be honest. But YouTube lets you do this wonderful thing called changing your URL and your username now. And so I've been having some serious thoughts about, like, maybe going back and doing YouTube videos that, you know, now that I feel like I know more about it, I have a better idea of what I would want to do. And, oh, sometimes I think, oh, you know what, on this channel, like, I'm just gonna do, like a, or, you know, on this Twitch, I guess it is a channel still, I'm gonna do, like, one of those, oh my gosh, look back and cringe streams where I just go through and watch, like, my old YouTube videos from when I was, like, in high school, or just out of high school, and compare that to, like, what I would want to do now. And there's a couple of them where I'm like, I kind of want to revisit those topics, but there isn't anywhere I'm like, oh wow, I want to just, like, sort of straight remake this video, because I feel like making that style of video has fallen, like, enormously out of favor. And the only one who can really pull it off, like, is, like, you know, the people who originated the style, like, you know, angry video game nerd type, you know, because when I did that stuff, is basically, you know, me ripping that off. I was hoping that would be for me, so, oh, this is the worst dry desert I've ever had in my life. Oh, you think you're sneaky. Bye. Oh. There, that's always a straight stretch where you can reach up and you can scratch that itch on your nose. And, you know, like, I'll be honest, when I was making my, like, old videos where I did, like, these really sort of corny movie reviews, it was mostly, like, me and my friends who were doing that, and I almost wanted, like, because I did get subscribers off of that. Like I did. You know, and I got views, but I don't think the videos were very good the more I look back on them, because they're very, very juvenile in that same sort of, okay, I'm aping like Nostalgia Critic because I'm not particularly creative and I don't really want to do that anymore. Hello Cat Yoshi, welcome to Mario Kart Double Dash and me having an existential crisis about what I would want to do on YouTube in the future. I think, you know, just one of the things that just poisoned doing YouTube videos, like formal, structured YouTube videos that aren't just like archived streams, is the whole feeling of that it would have to turn into like sort of a work thing rather than me just doing it as a hobby, where it would have to be like, okay, well, you're expected to constantly upload and do this like as if you're planning on doing it for like a day job or something, and that's just not the case. I feel like we don't let hobbies be hobbies anymore. It's like it's got to be something you can monetize, something that you can turn into sort of an entrepreneurial thing. And I don't feel like that should be the thing. I think that's wrong. And like, one of the major things about this was like when I was in a college course, and I've mentioned this college course like 1,000 times on the stream, but it really killed my creativity, really killed my desire to like do anything, because it was all about, you know, basically taking like stuff that essentially I considered a hobby and thought maybe I can explore this. You know, maybe I can get into doing writing and stuff like that, creative stuff as a profession, and just, you know, the whole branding thing, the whole how much you had to market yourself, it was just like overwhelming. So yeah, I was like, well, I don't really want to do this. And part of that was like, my YouTube channel sort of ended up as like a reflection of that, because we had to have like a social media presence. I got the green fire. Let's move on to 100cc, and let's do it with these folks. Let's go. No, we're not 100ccing yet. We're still 50ccing for the rest of the cups, right? That's the order we're doing it in. It'd be a bit repetitive, but as is the case with Mario Kart. I just keep thinking, like, what if I went back and I did videos that I wanted to make? Talked about things the way that I want to talk about them, in the way that I understand them now, rather than sort of like the surface level sort of nitpicky stuff that I was doing before. And I mean, sort of the general way that sort of YouTube has moved toward video essays and stuff, obviously. That's sort of influencing my decisions here, but it's not something I want to do just to like because I want to get views or anything like that. It's just seeing that format. I'm like, hey, there's things that I want to say, and can I do that using sort of a similar format? And I really like. It gives me more of a chance to do some of the other things that I like, which is just video editing, doing some funny, weird stuff with that, you know, that, and I haven't really had a chance to do that aside from, like, YouTube poops, and most of the time that sort of ends up getting frustrating near the end, and I just kind of give up, because I don't really, I feel like the videos have gone on for too long, or whatever. It's, I don't know, it's very different. And the odd time, of course, where I would, like, just mash stuff together as a quick joke for Twitter or whatever. because I thought it was funny. But to be able to do like real, like actual video editing again, that's something I've wanted to go back to doing. And I've just never really been sure how up until now. I've been like, oh well, I have a good idea, a decent idea now, and you bump into those mushroom carts there. They don't actually hurt you like the other carts do. They release a bunch of mushrooms there, but oh, and I was also gonna mention in Dry Desert back there, if you hit the pokies with the shells, they kind of like explode. I wanted to demonstrate it, but I didn't do it. I think that happens like when you hit a lot of the different enemies. Like I think you can knock like the chain chomps up in the air. Could be wrong about that. So essentially, like, I've been working on some stuff, some YouTube video scripts, but I haven't really decided which one I want to pursue first. I just kind of want to get most of them in order. There's other stuff I miss and stuff I've been thinking about lately, like as corny as it is, having like a channel like aesthetic and a channel lore, that's kind of appealing in sort of a strange way. You know, having some sort of internal consistency there. And it was something that I was kind of doing before, just because like everybody kind of does it. Because it almost feels like an instinctual thing, like you want to do that. And I don't think there's anything like objectively bad with it either when you have like a whole channel lore and everything like that. But it does become a little bit alienating to the like anybody who's a newcomer to your videos. But maybe the culture surrounding that was inevitable. Maybe the culture surrounding that is changing because of the way that people say binge television shows now, and maybe the way that people consume content has changed enough so that having channel lore, despite the fact that like nobody really does it anymore, might be more viable as a creative decision again, because of the way that people consume media has sort of changed. Missed all those item boxes. Listen, I'm not doing a speed run here. Although I will have to when I'm doing these courses here, when I have to go do them again on the next difficulty, this is practice for that, because I'm gonna have to sort of learn to navigate around them, get used to them again after having not really played them for a while. Sometimes that boost just doesn't come at the right time. Whether it be the stick sensitivity or my own ineptitude. But then, of course, it's like if you're doing like sort of provocative videos, I'm not saying that the stuff I'd be doing would be any like provocative in any way, but people are very angry about certain topics. And so when you attempt to have a nuanced discussion about some of them sometimes, like, I don't know. I feel like I could produce better content if I'm not under the pressure of having to, like, constantly release it to keep up the image of, like, oh, hey, look, guys, I'm a real YouTuber. I release regular videos. I think it would be, and this is just something I'm trying generally for the, like, my hobbies, is like, if you want to keep enjoying them, you gotta stop forcing yourself to do them sometimes. Stop forcing yourself to feel like you have to constantly be doing it. I actually think that the shortcut in this stage does not actually save you time. could be wrong about that, but or if it's like it does save you time, it's basically negligible by like any other tiny amount of time you may lose doing this. I don't know. I seem to recall like a speedrunner saying that, but I'm not interested in speedrunning. Listen, my philosophy is not to force myself to do things that I don't want to do if I don't have to do them. It takes a considerable amount of stress off my shoulders. Hey, I don't feel like streaming, then, you know, don't stream. I know what they say is like, oh, well, you know, you gotta stream every day at a regular time, and like if you're making YouTube videos, you gotta release them every day or like on a regular schedule at this specific time during these peak hours and this, and that's how you be. It's like, yes, because that's, if you're giving advice to somebody who wants to like really monetize their content, who wants to make it like a job, but like nobody ever really gives advice to people who aren't looking to make it their job, because it's so difficult for people to see it out of the lens of like must work constantly, capitalism kind of thing, you know? Everything you do has to be productive to your professional life in some way, you know? So you can't stream for enjoyment. You got to be streaming in order to better yourself as a career streamer. You got to be writing in order to better yourself as a career writer. Not because you like doing it, and it's never about because you like doing it. And I hate that mentality, because it's like you only got one option there. If you're not looking forward to doing it professionally, why bother doing something at all, right? Like how ugly is that? Like, that's awful. An awful thing to tell people. But I feel like that's mostly what it boils down to. I know you don't have to do that. To be honest, I never got the like actual way you're meant to do the boost in this particular game. It's like just doing that is something that, you know, my friends and I kind of figured out. Oh, that's how you can secure the boost basically every time. It's because I think you have to press A on like a particular frame, and so if you're mashing the button, you've got a high likelihood of actually hitting it. Everything I've ever read has been like, oh, it's got to be like a certain amount of time, like a short amount of time before the go. You have to press it, but like, I don't know what that particular time is. I just know if you hammer on the A button like a couple times, up to, you know, 15 times before the go, then you will, in fact, go. This stage is chaos. Oh my god. Listen, the lightning is the worst thing in Mario Kart, just period. Because, like, nothing is worse in a kart game, or like a racing game in general, than going slow. And I get that's sort of the entire point of the power-up, but, like, it makes it feel a little bit tedious. I'm also like tapping R for some reason, because it's like I think, oh, I can get the boost off the jumps, right? And it's like, no. Listen, you're not playing Mario Kart 8. You are playing Mario Kart 2004 or whatever year this game came out. Which of course implies that, you know, Mario Kart 8 came out in the year 8. Which it absolutely did. And it's one of the things like that always kind of bugged me about like art classes in school. Was always like, oh well, you know, you always got deadlines for this and deadlines for that, and like sometimes you just can't force yourself to think creatively, and you just have to let it come to you, and that's, you know, how your creative process might work. But it doesn't work like that for like art classes and stuff. It's always about getting stuff done on the deadlines. And I get the reason why they're trying to do that is to try to enforce, obviously, you know, real life has deadlines if you're making a career out of it. But, you know, they never teach you how to have a hobby. That's more or less what I'm saying. That's something you have to figure out on your own. You have to unlearn the work mentality in order to have fun with things. And, like, granted, you know, keeping the work mentality up and doing the things that you enjoy has helped, like, a number of people. Hello, Firestone36. Welcome to Mario Kart Double Dash. Bloom Coach. Okay. Let's swap to these folks. Let's do a let's do the Yoshi Kart. We're doing Star Cup. I don't know. I just feel, at least in my own mentality, it's like, if I'm doing something for work, or something professionally rather, it's like I want it to be separate from something I do for fun, because, like, then I'll be turning the fun things into work. And they stop being fun. Which is why I feel like I'm much happier if I do the things I like as sort of things I do on the side. Haha, loser. That was a miracle I avoided the Shy Guys there. Oh, but, oh, they scooped me up real good. Hey, you know what else I should play on here? I should play Star Wars Episode 1 Racer. And I did that on purpose, folks. Obviously, to demonstrate what those question blocks do. Hey, this and Dry Dry Desert are two of my favorite tracks from this game. And I mean like the racetrack itself. I mean, the music's good too, but I was so happy to see both of them in Mario Kart 8. And listen, with Mario Kart 8's addition of the dual item boxes, I think makes it my favorite Mario Kart game. Before, it was this one. I don't like Mario Kart Wii very much. Like, I don't think it's a fun game. Like, there's something that feels off about all the vehicles in that game, and I'm not sure what it is. And I really don't like playing with the motorbikes in that game. And I don't really like the tracks either. Like, they're not very fun. But it, you know, it's been a while since I played it, so I mean, maybe I should go back and play it sometime, but you know, I don't have a copy of it. And finding a copy, I hear, is actually rather expensive for some reason. You would have thought they made 1 million of those things, but thanks. I'm playing on the easiest difficulty. But Mario Kart 8 is really good. Oh, didn't get the boost that time. You know, when you play games like this as a kid, you know, you see like the entire stage, sort of the backdrop in your periphery, and you just kind of assume it's like enormous and like so much more vast than it actually is. Ah! But when you actually look at it, it's like, oh, it, you know, it doesn't look too terribly creative. I mean, creative, yeah, but it's not elaborate, you know? Not hyper detailed. And so sort of the veil falls away you have these memories of going in here and it's like this, oh, it's this huge, awesome city, and it's really, oh, it's a bunch of sort of single texture rectangles in the background. Not like a million things going on, but it feels like a big bustling city, you know, when I played this, when I was, you know, however old the first time I played it. Oh, come on! So I also realized, you know, I don't think I've really, like, looked hard at the... Like, come on, right, I threw that shell. I've never really looked hard at the background, you know, or as hard at the background as I am now, which is probably why I'm not doing so hot on this race. Also, good luck avoiding that. Do not enter. It's kind of interesting, though, because this, like, this era of, like, the Mario games... the Mario series games, you know, not just the mainline Mario games, but, you know, the spin-offs like this one too. It was this era where it was like Mario had finally solidified itself as a sort of Nintendo universe. Like, it hasn't changed much since this. Like, the character designs, they're, you know, both physically and, you know, auditorily, you know, what they sound like. Even sort of like the music, like Mario Kart music kind of all sounds like this now, but Mario music in general kind of sounds mostly just like this now. And it hadn't really condensed into like this form up until about this game, and like Sunshine, Mario Power Tennis, Mario Golf Toadstool Tour, the GameCube Mario games. And since then, Mario has been very consistent. You know, the character models haven't changed very much, like I said. Their sounds haven't changed very much, like I said. The tone hasn't changed very much. It's mostly the same. Whereas if you compare this to, say, a Mario game from an equal time period before this, equally far time period before this, I don't think actually there is one. Because if this was... that's like a good comparison. Well, I mean, okay, like 10 years prior to this game was Super Mario Kart, right? And look how drastically different that was. And even between the Mario releases of that era, like Super Mario Kart versus, say, Mario RPG versus Super Mario World, all within, you know, the same sort of few years, and they like very drastically sort of style differences you can see there. What am I playing on? I'm playing on a Nintendo Wii. It's like I do not have a GameCube. Also, see this sign up here? It says ribbon. I had a friend who was very insistent that on that sign, that is not Birdo, but Birdo's mom, and her name was Ribbaroon. That's how he read the sign. Because mind you, this would have been on like a little small TV, right? A little bit harder to read. But that was... he was very insistent about that. He was like, did you know that Ribbaroon is Birdo's mom? I was like, wow. This is before Mario Wiki is around, so I guess it's true. And if you get 10,000 points on a picture of Mew in Pokemon Snap, you'll go to the secret world with Mewtwo. I also really like how the helicopter there is like the helicopter Yoshi turns into in Yoshi's Island. This stage came back in Mario Kart 8, didn't it, right? There's like 4 or 5 of them, right, that came back? Noot. Actually, that's talking about Ribbaroon, the Birdo mom, is like literally the reason why I picked Birdo for this cup. Just because I was like, oh, I gotta talk about the Ribbaroon. it's like Yabi, the blue Yoshi. I had a weird sort of thing that I thought it was really cool when I was like younger, having like, and I mean it's such standard fare now with like, you look at like the Marvel movies and like the villain is like 90% of the time it's like, okay, it's Hero, but he's in scary colors. But I really sort of liked that thing when I was a kid, just like an alternate color scheme for like a hero, and maybe it was a different character altogether. But it was like the same, but like slightly different. I can't even really describe it, but I think a good example of it is there's hold on, just see if I can. That looks a little bit better. A little bit of a overscan thing going on at the bottom there. But when I was a kid, we got a Buzz Lightyear toy, right? From Toy Story, right? Cool little green purple guy. You know the Buzz Lightyear? You've seen him before, perhaps in the summer's hottest movie, Toy Story 4. Why aren't we finished with this series yet? But a film that I haven't seen, so I'm absolutely 100% capable of judging. Oh wow, off to a hot start here. This is punishing me for talking about Toy Story in that way. But they had the limited edition black and silver Buzz Lightyear, and I was like, I have to have it. Because I really like that idea of like, oh well, here's the same design, just like slightly different color scheme. I was like, please, I'm handing over my parents' cash right now. Anyway, I finally got it for like my birthday or whatever, and it was so cool because it was like the same toy, but it had different colors, and it was slightly different in that he had a little communicator that actually sort of worked on his arm. And by actually sort of worked, I mean it had a button that played additional sounds. I think there's something just sort of inherently appealing about Buzz Lightyear as a toy. And not because of the fact that he's from a movie about, you know, living toys, but like the folks who made the movie designed him as like what would be a cool kid's toy. It's like they sort of on a meta level understood that. And I think that's really cool. But one of the other things I like to do is sort of in the similar vein is I really liked like different Winamp skins that were like just the basic one, just in a different color. And I can't really put my finger on why I found that so appealing. And maybe I'm thinking like, oh well, you know, when I was a kid, you know, I played like Yoshi's Story, Yoshi's Island. You know, you got the Yoshis, but they're all sorts of different colors. And even now I can't think of the possible reason, because like palette swap stuff is so sort of standard and boring when you think about it. Like it's not a very good character design option. Also, here's a weird thing about this era is while like the Super Mario games are very confident already in their identity, and they, you know, haven't really changed much since then. The Donkey Kong games, this was around the sale of Rare to Microsoft, so like the future of the Donkey Kong games was looking very different. Around this time, it was like you got Donkey Konga, you got the Donkey Kong Barrel Blast, you had Donkey Kong Jungle Beat. They're trying a whole bunch of weird different things with the Donkey Kong license. I can remember playing Donkey Kong Jungle Beat in the Toys R Us when I was younger, and you know, they had a little demo station set up. It was at the end near the checkouts, and I was there and I played a little bit of it, and I was like, I don't really get it. And maybe I still don't get it. You know, I haven't played one of those games since then, so it's very, very different. And the Donkey Kong license has kind of been sorted out since then. It's notably different from the way it was before. In fact, let's here's the weird thing. These are DK64 sounds that they make. Looks like we're playing it again in the same order, different order. Maybe we'll do one of the other cups in a different order. Oh, look at him! Look at him! Yeah, that's absolutely DK64 sounds. DK sounds might be new, but or they're using like different sounds that aren't like his normal sounds from DK64, but that is absolutely Chris Sutherland doing Diddy Kong here. So they were, you know, they were there with they're still using the Rareware, the semblance, the remains of Rareware DK. I mean, obviously, you know, they've kept the design and everything, and you know, Diddy and Cranky and, you know, the rare characters, but they've sort of tried to reclaim him since, you know, they've re-recorded all his voices, he and Diddy, that is, and made them sound a little bit more animalistic, rather than, you know, sort of talking in broken English, sort of. Hello, Vortex Blazer. Welcome to DK Double Dash. Donkey Kong Double Dash. The Dashioning. Oh, come And yeah, so like DK's identity is very different now. Just got off net play of this game. Is that a thing? Like emulator type thing. I'm imagining. I'm imagining. And, you know, DK, like, his games now, I mean, like, I never finished either Donkey Kong Country Returns or Tropical Freeze. I got a good chunk the way through both of them, but they're extraordinarily hard. Like, they're incredibly difficult games, and, like, I mean, if you want a platforming game challenge, then yeah, but you'll get frustrated with them real quick. But I don't know, I'd like to see another 3D Donkey Kong game, a little bit in the vein of DK64, but you know, no, here's the thing, is like, and I've mentioned this before, is that Super Mario Odyssey is more Banjo-Tooie than Super Mario 64, so it's like, clearly the development team at Nintendo that worked on Mario Odyssey has a good grasp of how, like, those kind of 3D platformers could work or should work, while also cutting out a lot of the sort of the BS baggage. And like, I mean, like, say what you want about didn't deploy the big banana in time. About the fact that it has like 999 moons in it, but for the most part, a lot of sort of the baggage of that game is of those types of games is cut out of that game. So like, you don't have to play a whole bunch of these like really annoying mini games that get recycled throughout the game. Like, there's a few of them, but they're not, like, you know, you got like the trace walking thing that's in there, the arrange the features of the face game that's in there. Like, you got some of them that are like that, but they're not particularly annoying mini games, and they're not really required to progress in the game the way that, say, they are in the Rareware titles for N64. So you're on a GameCube now? I'm on, well, I mean, the Wii is a GameCube with extra hardware, but yes, it's on the Wii, on the GameCube mode of the Wii. Oh, that's okay. I finished the lap. They can run as many bananas over as they want. It just feels like in different hands, the Rareware DK is just very strange and different than how he is in like the 4 major like Rareware DK titles. Like he has, and the games in general have a very particular personality that even like the more recent Retro Studios games don't quite capture. It's a little bit weird. I'm sure one day I'll pinpoint down the exact reason. But I think it's maybe it's not even an exact reason. Maybe it's just a culmination of different factors, like the fact that he sounds distinctly different. He looks a little bit different. His face looks a little bit less dopey and more like a weird grin now. He's got, yeah, he visibly shows teeth a lot more often now. I don't know, like I use emulators, got so many games. Here's something, I did try to run an emulator for this, but it just does not like it, plus the Streamlabs open at the same time, so I was like, well, you know, I got the dang game right next to me, so might as well do it that way. Otherwise, what the heck did I buy the capture card for? Looks like we're doing pretty good here. Your settings, I can stream the game just fine. It's my graphics card. That's what it is. I need to get myself a new one. OpenGL. I'm not particularly, I don't particularly remember the way I have it set up. But listen, I think it's that plus like just general memory issues on my computer. You know when you have like a computer for a long time and you know it just kind of accumulates stuff, whether it be like room on your drive, stuff running in the background. So I guess, oh my gosh. Get out of here. Princess Peach. Who do you think you are, the monarch or something? That was a particularly bad move. I don't know. No matter what I've done with the dolphin, I've never been able to get it to. Ah! I saw my fate and I accepted it. I can never get it to run nicely. Like I can get it to run nicely, like fine, on its own. But the second that I try to stream, it's like, no. Oh my gosh. The nose scratch section. Oh, it's real. should really just save the green shells and the bananas for when I get, like, chased down by an item. I'm surprised I haven't, you know, seen any blue shells. This whole time, I haven't seen a blue shell, like, once. Never been confident enough to drift on the sides there. Seems like it'd probably be a bad move, but, you know, there's probably someone who does it. That's fine. DK just looks so weird. It's like he lost all the life in his eyes. And like, I loved DK growing up. I'll be real about that. Oh! Just whack my headphone cord. Like, yeah, I watched the Donkey Kong Country cartoon, the animated series. I did watch that. It aired on a network called Teletoon. It was first a French series, and they dubbed it into English, I believe. But it was originally produced as French. I'm like 90% certain about that. It was a musical too, right? Like the Donkey Kong Country show, like every episode had like at least one song in it. A little bit weird. What have we done? We've done these two, we've done these two, we've done these two, we've done these two. Let's do good old Mario and Luigi. Go on the green one. And Flower Cup. Tunnels and stuff are so cool. Going through a tunnel is like, and this still sounds weird because like I don't like going on like theme park rides and stuff. So like, I like learning about, this has actually brought me off on like a completely different like brain tangent. Like just different train or chain of thought. Can I do this? I've very rarely been able to do that. Oh, come on! But, like, I was on a bus, a few weeks ago, taking this bus for the first time, and it goes through a tunnel, and we don't usually have, you know, at least not in my end of the city, there's no tunnels for, like, transit to go through. It's part of, like, the rapid transit program, I guess. And, yeah, they have their own, like, sort of dedicated tunnel down that particular route, and, just going through it at, like, you know, like 70 kilometers an hour. Not that fast, but, like, faster than average traffic is, like, it was, like, weird. Because it wasn't something I've ever really been used to, and go through, like, tunnels like this, it's like, oh, that's cool. And so it was really cool at the time. But you'd imagine probably from like that statement that like, wow, I must really like roller coasters. I've never been on one, really. Aside from like tiny little like pop-up carnival roller coasters, you know? The little ones. I've been on those. But roller coasters themselves have never really appealed to me. I do like learning about like the history of particularly like I don't like amusement park rides in general, but I'm the winner. Who's number one now? Luigi. Pretty good Mario impression followed up by a pretty terrible Luigi impression, if I do say so myself. I'm trying to think what the last like amusement park ride I went on. And it must have been like a tilt-a-whirl or something? Like a carnival ride. And I think that must have been years ago. don't really have the time or opportunity. I like some amusement park rides, like the Tilt-A-Whirl. I like those sort of spinny rides. I kind of like those. I think your standard average sort of Ferris wheel is pretty nice too, but only if it's got the bar to keep you in. I don't like the ones that don't have it, where it's like a gondola. I don't like those, because that just makes me feel super uneasy. If I've got the bar there, I think it's fine. I don't have a problem with the bar. Like the bench seats, probably what they're called. But the gondola ones are just like, no, I can't do it. I'd probably be okay if it was like a gondola, but it was a cage, you know? Like a fully enclosed cage. I think I'd be actually like 100% okay with that. I'm just trying to like test it out in my head, and like, how would I feel in that situation? And it's like, that'd be pretty okay, I think. Don't think I'd have a major problem with that. Take it easy. Man, Mario games are like, they're so like wholesome and fun. But the other thing is like, I like learning about amusement park rides, like, and I think a lot of people have that feeling. It's sort of like a vicarious thing where I think a lot of people never really got the chance to go to amusement parks when they were kids. And so I think this leads to like the popularity of channels like Yesterworld, Defunctland, stuff like that. Is like, you got sort of a twofold audience. You got people like me where it's like, they never really went on amusement park rides. They've never been to like Disneyland, Disney World, Universal Studios, anything like that. Never been. Probably would never have the chance to go. And it's like learning what they're missing and trying to like see it, sort of a window into that world. And that's sort of what it is for me. But I think for other people, it's probably like, oh, well, I've, been to this particular theme park so many times and I want to learn the history of it, the way that it's, and I can kind of identify with that too, because like, I like learning and seeing the history of like sort of the everyday places I've been, like the shopping malls that I've been to, just general areas of the city I live in, and like, oh, well, what did that look like before, right? Either before I was born or before I ever went there. And, I like that and seeing how that changed over time. And so it's sort of a combination of those two things that is like sort of living vicariously through those experiences that other people have about theme parks like Disneyland and Disney World. I get that feeling of like, oh wow, it's cool to see what it was like before and how it's changed since. And wow, I wonder where those things went and, what the process was and learning the history behind how these things change. And so I think, you have those sort of two main motivators there for why that kind of content is interesting. And for other people, like, I guess like me, like, it's like they can see the appeal of both. I really can't stop hitting the bananas on this stage. This might be my first, like, bad placement. Get out of here. I can't believe, like, Luigi's just punching babies here. Like, admittedly, it's, the baby clones of him and his brother, but, like, geez. Anyway, here's the basement of this thing that I said probably takes a longer period of time than going around it, just because of the fact you bonk on the way down. But yeah, like I love like Defunctland and stuff. Like I love watching those videos, despite the fact that it's like I can't really relate to it because I relate to it on a level that's not intentional, right? I relate to it on the level of like, wow, it's interesting to see this, but the way that the videos are kind of structured, it feels like it's appealing more to the people who know the attractions, you know? Like, it's not really about, like, learning what the attractions are. It's like, oh, you already know, you know, Splash Mountain. You already know the Haunted Mansion. You know Pirates of the Caribbean. You know these rides already. And whereas with me, it's like, no, I really don't. I've never been on these rides, and it's interesting to learn when the rides themselves aren't really explained so much. It's more like, oh, you know this stuff already. Here's some more information about it. And it's like, I don't know. Almost feels like yeah, it's made like to appeal to the kind of people who were able to go like every year to go see to go to like Disneyland, Disney World, stuff like that. Just double check some stuff here. All right, that should be good. I guess it also appeals like in another way to like people who like have an appreciation for like just rides in general and the kind of technology that goes into them, like the animatronics, the history of the way that different rides have developed, and how thrill rides sort of overtook, like, say, dark rides and stuff. So much so that, like, to someone like me, the idea of a dark ride is very weird. Like, a themed dark ride with a story is very weird to me, because that's not a kind of ride that I was ever exposed to. The closest thing being, like, maybe a haunted house. And even then, that's still more of a thrill ride, because, like, I've never been on one with, like, oh, well, here's got a themed story and everything. It's like, no. There's no pretensions here. This is a ride. You get on this machine and you have fun. Or you don't have fun, right? So that was really interesting when I got to first start watching, like, Defunctland and stuff, was, like, learning about, like, how appealing this, and, like, lots of people still have an appeal for them. Some of them are like connoisseurs of, like, dark rides, and it's like I don't really, like, get it. It's so strange and foreign to me, despite the fact that those were, like, the popular type of ride before, like, thrill rides sort of overtook them, before they were really even invented because of safety reasons, right? Was it be like, okay, well, here's sort of like a little track. You go around in a little cart on the track inside of, like, a barn, and they have, like, a little story set up for you, right? Which, of course, kind of expanded into, like, okay, but you go on a little boat trip underneath, and you see, like, pirates and stuff. It's like my familiarity with, like, the Pirates of the Caribbean thing is like the movies, right? And I know that they've changed the rides to make them look more like movies and to incorporate, like, Captain Jack Sparrow and, you know, I think some of the other characters like Davy Jones, but, like, the ride itself is like, all I know about it is either stuff I absorbed through general knowledge of the movie and, like, what other people have said in, like, Defunctland. It's like, oh, okay, that's what they're talking about. Like, to me, a theme park ride is something like a Ferris wheel, or like a roller coaster, or a Gravitron, a Zipper, a Sizzler, you know, one of those things, a Tilt-A-Whirl. I think I might, you know, going on like a themed ride like that, I might be interested in doing that, but I guess that's what made things like, when they covered the, whatever the hell was that, really, the one that everyone, like, disliked, it was, like, the movie star one, where they had, like, a whole bunch of these caricatures of movie stars, the Hollywood limo ride, or whatever, like, that thing probably seemed more absurd to me than it would be to the standard person who otherwise would have been exposed to it, who's more aware of that style of ride to begin with. Because when I first saw, like, say, the Defunctland video or whatever on that particular ride is like, oh, the whole concept of like dark ride was so weird to me that I was like, who would ever want to ride this to begin with? But, you know, apparently, you know, it's like, oh, but that was sort of the whole sort of central conceit was that it was this particular genre of ride that I had never really been exposed to. And so, of course, it's going to seem absurd, an extra level of absurd to someone like me who had never heard of that kind of ride. If that makes sense, like, it's weird. It's also weird that I haven't really had to think about Mario Kart. Like, I've been talking about like other like YouTube channels, like, and Disneyland rides. The question is like, would I like to go to like a permanent theme park like that one day? And the answer is probably like maybe once, just to see what it's like. And that's not even necessarily true that I haven't been to one before, because I have. I've been to Marineland, which is it's a theme park, but and like a permanent one, but I don't remember it very well. But you know, I'd like to see what it's like, but it just costs so much money that I'm like, why would I even want to? Like, I think it'd be kind of cool, but sort of the cost benefit of it just isn't there. Like, it's not adequate enough for me to be like, oh wow, I should really just save up money one day and go to Disney World or Universal Studios or wherever. It's more like, hey, if the opportunity presented itself and it wouldn't be too much of a financial burden, then, you know, maybe, yeah, sure, but that's probably never going to be the case. And I think that's like sort of the way that I feel about a lot of different sort of, I want to say tourist, not attractions, but like tourist things. Oh, wow, we got a second ranking on that. That good?
Next time, it's mine.
We good though? Will we be good, rather? This is the first race. And I start thinking, like, what are some of the other things that it's like, well, if the opportunity presented itself, would you do it? Sort of. My mind immediately goes to like thrill seeking, but it doesn't have to be that. It's like it could be any sort of recreational activity that's sort of a little bit more unconventional, as in like you would have to like go somewhere to do it, like a vacation, like a tourist thing. If the opportunity presented itself, where would I not mind going? To see an attraction. Like, obviously, first thing is like, oh well, you know, I probably wouldn't mind going to Japan or something. You know, just, you know, wouldn't mind if the opportunity presented itself to travel to a foreign country of my choosing. Just to see it, if it wasn't so much of a financial burden. I was surprised I avoided that truck and then I got hit by the lightning. Yeah, that's right. Take that banana out from me, dude. Use it or lose it, dude. Like, would I go skydiving? No, I don't think I'd ever go skydiving. It's like, well, don't you just want to do it just once in your life, just to see what it's like? And I'm like, no, I think I'd have a pretty miserable time the whole time doing skydiving. Like, I have a fairly good grasp of the kind of things that I enjoy and the kind of things I don't, and that's one thing that I'm like 90% certain I would not enjoy. Would I want to go bungee jumping? It's sort of the same thing. It's like, no. I'm trying to think of some other ones, like, because obviously it's like I went over the theme park thing. Would you want to go to Disney World? It's like, well, you know, if I had the chance, maybe. Would I want to... This is really interesting. I'm really trying to think about this. Because I can tell, like, there's some other sort of opportunities. It's like... that I know that I definitely would not. Anything, like, sort of, like, water park related is a definite no for me. Hate, like, swimming. So, like, or anything swimming related, rather. So, like, water parks and... like, oh, wouldn't you want to swim in the ocean? Would you want to swim with dolphins or whatever? It's like, no. No, like, absolutely not. I would be fine with going for the rest of my life without ever doing that. I'd be perfectly fine. In fact, I want to go the rest of my life without doing that. I mean, like, I'd be perfectly fine going the rest of my life without going to Disney World either, right? It's just, like... would I prefer not to do it? No, not really. There are lots of things that kind of fit in that category of like, hey, you know, if I had the opportunity to do it, I probably wouldn't turn it down. That are like things that are not expensive, right? I mean, like, that's sort of relative, but like not like get on a freaking plane and pay a bunch of people a bunch of money to stay in a hotel room and get transportation and stuff down to a particular location. It's like, hey, I've never been laser tagged. I've never been laser tagged. I've never gone and did the laser tag. I've never done that. The reason is, like, every birthday party that was laser tagged that I was ever invited to, I was never allowed to go. Would I do it? I think yes. I think yes. If I had the time to do that, if somebody wanted to do that and invited me, I'd be like, yeah, sure. I mean, it depends on the person, but and it depends on the day, and oh my gosh, just everything to do with being an adult, but I wouldn't mind that. That's something I would like to see, just to see what it's like. But there are other things like that, well, that also brings on sort of a whole sort of class entertainment that's like, oh, would you ever go see a movie and pay for the D-Box? Would I want to do that just, like, to see what it's like? I'm not sure about that one. The D-Box, like, I'm not sold on it. I don't think I ever have been sold on it. I'm still not sold on 3D. And obviously nobody was ever sold on, like, the higher frame rate thing. Another thing, VR gaming. Would I ever, like, purchase a VR headset? And if it becomes sort of an inevitable thing where it's like you have to in order to see, like, the future of gaming, I'd sort of begrudgingly accept it, I guess. Oh my god, you did not just seriously do that. I can't believe that. I had it. I had the shot. I had it lined up, and Mario took it from me. Gotta pull ahead here. I don't think we can do it. I think we're stuck with the silver for this one. But I'm surprised we get, like, sort of, like, halfway through the whole game experience. And finally, now we're on the whole... we're gonna have to do this again step. Surprising, but I'm not quite sure for which reason. Oh, here's another one. Here's another one. Escape rooms. Those are, like, really popular. I'm not sure if they're still really popular, but they were for a little while. Everyone and their mom knew somebody who worked at an escape room building, in, like, an escape room business. It was like, oh, you know, my cousin Ralph. Oh, he works over at the escape room place, you know? Oh, wow. I've heard about that. Maybe we should go try it sometime and then never do. I don't know. I think that'd be, like, kind of a waste of money. I don't know. That's one of the things that's definitely on the tier list of, could go the rest of my life without having to do it and would prefer. Why would I pay somebody else to put me in a saw trap? I get it's not dangerous, but like, I don't know, I don't get it. Probably not for me. I realize how like conventional and boring this can sound, but like, oh my god, for real? Okay. With the VR thing, I know like they got the VR arcades too. Would I ever give those a chance is what I'm thinking? Maybe. But they just, I don't know, they seem like they'd be such like a gimmick thing. I mean, obviously they're a gimmick thing, but like too gimmicky to the point where I don't think I could find really any enjoyment in them. I've used a VR headset before, so it's not like I'm ignorant to the technology, but I used it for like, they had like a sort of 3D Jungle Book trailer, 3D VR Jungle Book trailer, and I was like, hey, that's pretty cool and weird how it fills your entire field of vision. Like, that's a little weird. Do I want to play a real game like that? No. Come on. I can't believe I lost. Hey, we still get the silver. This track sucks. That's number one reason there. We don't get anything for the silver. We have to get the gold, right? Yeah. So let me tell you this. I'm going to take a very quick break. I'm going to grab something for me to drink because my mouth is getting dry. And I'll be back. So here's where I share the sort of nasty things that happened to me today. The absolute, like, not a real problem kind of things, but things that hurt me greatly. Let's do this again. It was the, let's play as a pair that I feel like I have a better control over the situation with. Is today, my window was developing, like, ice on it, and I went to open it to try to, like, you know, try to get it open so that it wasn't, you know, it's, you know, because my window, like, that's my emergency exit, you know. What if something goes wrong? What if, you know, there's a fire or something? I gotta get that window open. And so I don't really like when there's, like, a massive ice buildup on it. And so I went to pry it open, and my finger got caught. Two of my fingers got caught where they should not be caught. And oh my god, that really hurt. It's been a while since I felt that kind of pain. I was like, did I seriously? I thought I might have, like, broken, like, my fingers, but I didn't. But, like, now I have extra sympathy for every single person in, like, one of those movies in the cartoons where, like, it's in one of the Home Alone movies, like, 90% sure, dropping the window on someone's fingers and crushing them, screaming in pain, you know, it's like a Looney Tunes type thing, right? Great sympathy for that. That hurts. And I'm fairly sure my fingers are bruised now. Thankfully, they're not any of the ones I have to use to play this game. If I was playing a keyboard and mouse game, that'd be a different story. They're the middle and ring finger on my left hand. So yeah, don't do that. The other thing was, I bought, you know, and here's a problem that's sort of just general, is if you want to listen to music now, on CD, on tape or something, and you want to have like an all-in-one stereo system, you know, the kind of ones that they would sell maybe about 20 years ago, you can find them really easily. Finding one that has everything you want on it that, you know, looks decent enough and works, a lot more difficult if you don't want to, like, go and pay it for, like, I was gonna say Craigslist, but that's not really a thing here, it's Kijiji. If you don't want to go on there, you know, you gotta keep your eyes out at, like, thrift stores. And so I ended up finding one. It was covered in dust, but otherwise worked. It was only like 16 bucks. I found it at a thrift store, and I was like, hey, cool. I can play tapes, I can play CDs, I can use the radio, and I can even connect my phone to it if I wanted to, because it has an extra input thing in the back. So pretty standard stuff, and has little equalizer knobs on it. So I was like, hey, I'm gonna get this, and I got it, and it worked for a little while. It worked perfectly fine, and then one day I turned it on and it just started making this buzzing noise. Now, if your sound system is buzzing, you got a couple things that it could be. It could be one of the components themselves on the inside. It could be the CD player, the tape player, you know, but you can diagnose that by whether or not you're on that particular setting and it's making that noise. It was making a noise regardless. So after some Googling, found, oh, you've got some problem with the electrical ground. Great. Well, it's only a two-prong plug. There's only one plug. The speakers don't have their own plug. So that means the speakers are receiving power directly from the main unit, if I'm not mistaken. And so I thought, oh, well, you know, maybe there's something wrong with the wires. Wires were fine. They looked fine. There's no breaks in them or anything. They're the kind of speaker wires, that sort of the clamp ones. I hate those, but those have been standard for like a very long time. I don't think they're really used as much anymore, except in like professional sort of equipment. I think for the most part, like, consumer use is largely like sort of like RCA cables and stuff, I believe. But yeah, this stereo system does not have it. Does not have something like that. So it's entirely through just the copper wires and the clamps there with the positive and negative. So I double-checked both those cables. They were fine. They were plugged in correctly. But I noticed if you just moved one of them around, it sparked a little bit on the inside of the speaker unit. So I thought, oh, is there something wrong with the speaker? Let me get a different speaker. So I went and I grabbed a different speaker. And that one has the wire already wired into it, into the speaker itself, and just has the copper wire. Is it copper? I'm not sure. It just has the wire on it. I don't think it's actually copper because it doesn't look like copper. It's probably like some other alloy. And I went and I plugged that into the stereo system. Turned it on. Nothing. And I was like, oh, it's not buzzing anymore. It must be fine. So I stick in a CD. I press play. Hear nothing. And I go, oh, that's weird. Okay, maybe this particular speaker is dead. Turns out that speaker is not dead. Not yet. So what I did was I turned it off, I unplugged it, plugged it back in, turned it back on. Sudden, loud pop noise. And I was like, huh, what's that? You know, because I thought, oh, you know, it makes the pop noise sometimes when like I was noticing when like the cable got moved a little bit. But it didn't start buzzing again. Instead, what happened was smoke started coming out of the other speaker, and not the other speaker, but the speaker that I had just plugged in to test it, and oh, come on. And plastic starts melting out the front of it, like immediately. So like I unplug everything and I take everything aside, it stops smoking, and that speaker is now fried. So obviously there was some sort of electrical problem inside of the unit itself. I have no idea what it is, what it was, but I think I'm probably better off just, you know, getting rid of it, because obviously it must have done that same thing to the other speakers, or something similar to cause that problem. So now I'm looking for another speakers and stereo, which means I gotta look at thrift stores again. Or if not, I gotta pay for one of those bigger... I think it'd be nice to have like the record player on top, you know, one of those. And but the thing is, when I was troubleshooting for it, like nothing that I was finding was helping, because they were always like, oh, it's got to do with the power supply for the speakers. You got to do something about that. So I couldn't really do that because the speakers didn't have their own power supply. Their power supply was coming from the same cable that was connected to the unit itself. Like they didn't have their own separate power supply and cord. And look, I'm not an electrician. I know nothing about like electronic appliances and stuff, so I only know the rudimentary basics, and I diagnose it with dead, so I have to go find a new one. But yeah, if I could get like one of the ones that have it's like sort of the cabinet units that has the turntable on top. It has the cassette player. It has the CD player, radio, obviously. Not that I want to use it, but, you know, it's kind of standard. You just put a radio in it. Boom. Those are, like, cheap. You can stick them in. They're fine. But I guess because a lot of, like, your average consumer doesn't really get those kind of stereos anymore, or use them, every time I tried to Google it, it was like, oh, do you mean car stereo? Here's how you could deal with, like, the buzzing in your car stereo. It's like, no. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the fact that my stereo, like my home stereo system, is making a funny noise. That's caused by something wrong with the electrical components on the inside. I did open it up and I thought, oh, well, maybe something's like melted or something. There was an electrical short or something. Everything looks fine on the inside. There's nothing melted, nothing. I thought, you know, oh, well, because it was kind of dusty when I first got it. Maybe there was like a buildup of dust on the inside as well, and maybe caused something to overheat. And, yeah, melt, like I said, but like, nope, nothing like that. Couldn't see anything. But, you know, there's obviously something really wrong with it that a professional could diagnose. But how many audio repair places are there still? Kind of went the way of the dinosaur. It's like, oh, well, you got a problem with your audio system. It's like, oh, well, it's all just one thing now, so just buy a new one. You know? 90% of the time, it's either part of like a home theater system, and you just like, oh, well, I'll just cast my Spotify to it, or it's like a Bluetooth like speaker, at which point it's like, oh, we'll just buy a new speaker, right? Like people don't really go out and buy like CD players or anything. Like the closest thing really is like a home theater system for like Blu-ray players, which can double as a CD player, which is mostly what I have to do now if I want to listen to CDs. Otherwise it's like, just listen to it on your computer. And that's always like the thing too, is like, I want to get more use out of my CDs, because it's like, I know how impermanent like stuff like Spotify is. Especially because it's like, hey, you know, full albums that I used to listen to that I had on playlists are just gone off of Spotify now for one reason or another. And it's like, well, I have the physical CDs, and it's like, yes, I could listen to it by putting it on my computer, right? By taking the CD, putting it in my computer, and listening to it that way. Or what's less steps? Just going to YouTube, typing in "dismember like an ever-flowing stream" and popping it up and listening to it that way. And you can't say, oh, well, that doesn't support the band, because it's like, well, putting the CD in my computer is not supporting the band either. Really, it's like, I bought the CD, right? That was all that was, and who knows, I think I probably bought that CD used. Actually, I guarantee I bought it used, so, like, wasn't going to the band anyway. Special Cup's been unlocked, now we can go do that. I think we have to stay at 100 for Special Cup, but yeah, let's... I haven't played as these two yet. This is gonna really suck for Rainbow Road. This is gonna suck for every stage in this, because they're just so big. But I guess we're doing it. Yeah! So this is the only course in the game that has only 2 laps, because they decided to make it, like, extraordinarily long. Thanks. Can we start over? No, not 50. We are doing 100, and we are doing these 2. Oh boy. You know what? I honestly, like, I genuinely forgot what I was talking about. How did that happen? It was like I got fixated on the fact that Wario Coliseum is only 2 laps, and I was like, oh, the whole topic I was on? What happened there? And I was like talking about it pretty intensely too, but like it's just gone. Like tears in the rain. Have you ever seen Blade Runner? I haven't. Do I know that line? Roughly. Oh, come on. I should probably do that. I should probably watch Blade Runner. I was talking about my stereo system and how much more convenient it is to listen to music now that there's no point in me even using my CD collection. But I want to use it because it's like, I know that those CDs, that's how I'm going to listen to the music for sure. Because it could just disappear off the internet. Obviously, due to like general degradation, those CDs will probably eventually become unplayable, but you know, I have cassettes too. Those are probably even worse off. But at least they're not subjected to like the whims of a record company when they decide that, hey, I don't want people to listen to this anymore on this streaming service. Like, too bad. Hate that. Now, the other alternative is import my CDs into iTunes, and I do that for the ones that are not, like the albums are not on Spotify. It's like, oh, well, I own the actual album here. But like part of the problem too is like I have the compulsion to listen to the music in a particular way that scrobbles it to my last FM because it's like I want the stats. Please tell me what I was listening to on this day, on this week. Please give me recommendations based on my most listened. And I can only do that if it's played through Google Music or iTunes or Spotify or something like that. So just listening to the CDs on their own, it's like that's not making an accurate measurement of what my stats are for my last FM. And it's like I realize that, and I try like to avoid that by like actually putting like the CD on. Like the other day I listened to Cal Decapitation's latest again, except it was Ah! Except I was listening to just the CD, and so that didn't log the scrobbles, as they say. So that's now inaccurate as to how many times I've listened to that album. But then Spotify also has... Last.fm grabs song titles from Spotify, and it's got like the remastered 2011 at the end of it or whatever. So it's like, ugh. I hate that. It messes everything up because then Last.fm thinks it's a different song. It's like, wow, you listened to 91 different songs by this artist despite actually only listening to like 30 of them, and just a number of them were scrobbled multiple times because of the whole we recognized it as a different song thing. Also, 6th place, Dino Dino Jungle. This stage is treacherous. I'm also not really drifting with these guys because their cart is so hulking and bulky. You know what? I'm sorry, I did play as those two, but I don't like the control that I have over them. It feels wrong. This seems like the surefire bet. Not the big monsters. And I know some people they really like the Bowser and the Bowser Jr., but me personally don't like playing them so much. Oh, this feels so much better. I feel like this is almost like a what is that story? The ballet slippers? There's like a name for the story, and it's probably not the ballet slippers, but it's sort of like the Dumbo, you need the feather to fly, but you can always fly thing. At least I think that's an apt comparison. You just didn't believe hard enough? Look, it's been a while since I saw Dumbo. There weren't a lot of, like, Disney movies that I saw too much when I was a kid. Like, there were, like, it's like, most kids did watch, like, a lot of Disney movies, but, like, usually, like, the same handful of the same ones. So, because it was the ones that they had on little VHSs with the white clamshell cases and everything that, like, and every kid my age had like a different set of them. So for me, it was like Aladdin, The Lion King, Toy Story. If you count that as a Disney film, it's like one of those. Just like those ones. But for other people, it's like, oh well, they had The Jungle Book. I didn't have a VHS of The Jungle Book at my house when I was a kid. I had it at my grandma's house, but I didn't watch it very often. For me, it was 101 Dalmatians, Aladdin, The Lion King, Hercules. So there's a number of Disney films that I just haven't seen, like, well, some at all. Like, I never saw Bolt, I never saw Meet the Robinsons, I never saw, probably a few more, like, of the more recent ones, definitely. And by more recent, I mean, like, last 20 years. But I think that's just due to the nature of the fact that I'm an adult now and not a kid who needs to be babysat by the VCR. But I really can't, but for some other kids, it was like, oh, well, they watched, like, Hunchback of Notre Dame every day. They watched, like, Jungle Book. They watched, like, okay, maybe for some people, maybe it's, like, Black Cauldron. Maybe that's the one for them. Maybe for some of them, it's Robin Hood. And these are ones that it's like, oh, I saw these, like, once. Fox and the Hound. So there's some that I just don't have a very, like, high emotional sort of nostalgic attachment to. But the ones I mentioned about like 101 Dalmatians, Aladdin, and The Lion King, those are the ones, right? Two of them being Disney Renaissance films. Oh, and Hercules too. Which I feel like lots of people really like, and I found this out much later. I thought Hercules was kind of like beloved, but turns out like people hate that movie. Like they think it's garbage. They think it embodies like the worst of that Disney Renaissance era. And I'm thinking like, did I miss something? Like I don't remember that movie being that bad. And I've seen it like, I want to say fairly recently. Like I have seen it again within the past like 5 to 7 years. And it's like, I don't remember it being like not good. But I've seen, you know, many a content creator take on YouTube about how, you know, Hercules caused so many problems and like how it was like a failure of storytelling for Disney, a failure of animated filmmaking or whatever. And I'm like, is part of this vitriol due to the fact that the people making these videos are just like slightly older than me, so that for them when that movie came out, like it was at the point in their life where they were being disillusioned by these films? Because I feel like it's like just by the nature of them being Disney films, you could get pretty disillusioned with them in general. Like kind of like how everyone kind of backed up over Frozen, you know, initially saying, hey, it was pretty good, and then sort of like now they're kind of like, oh god, not Frozen. But I think for that, like, that was mostly like the memes that drove that, you know, point home, that caused that to happen. I saw Frozen the one time. I thought it was fine. Definitely not my favorite Disney film. I think of like the more recent like ones, especially the 3D animated ones, I liked Tangled better. At this point, I think like the 3D Disney films and the 3D Pixar films, like they almost feel a little bit sort of samey now. Like they feel less different than they ever did. So like Moana, like that was a Pixar one. Like I'm pretty sure it was a Pixar one, but that one is very, very, very much like a Disney movie, you know? I'm gonna actually double check that. Like, that's gotta be the case, right? No. Moana is a Disney one. Okay, not a Pixar one. What's a better example though? Oh, you know, Brave. Brave felt very, very not Pixar. It felt very, very standard, regular Disney. And that was weird. I didn't like Brave at all, actually. I thought it was kind of bad. And by bad, I mean, like, fine, but, like, not as good as it could be and not up to the sort of standard that, either other Disney films of the time period or definitely not other Pixar films, sort of lived up to. I saw, Incredibles 2, which, you know, I think there's a lot to be said about The Incredibles, in that I think just sort of the overall lesson that kids will take away from the movie is, like, fairly rotten, but I do have, like, an affinity for it just because of, like, you know, nostalgic reasons. Incredibles 2, I was like, hey, you know, it's cool that it's happening. And I watched the movie in theaters and everything, but I was like, I mean, you know, I think I'm over it. Just like I'm sure if I watched, like, Robots, like I think it's 20th Century Fox film, like Fox Animation Studios or whatever it was called, I think did that one. Could be wrong about it, but, like that one, I remember when I saw that in theaters when I was younger, it was like, oh wow, you know, that's really cool. And I feel if I watched it now, I would just like I don't think I'd hate it, but I think it would lose any sense of magic it had when I saw it in the theater. You know, I don't think, you know, like some people are like, and I'm sure if I would, I just started like 10 different sentences, but I'm sure if it were like, you know, me from 5 to 10 years ago, where my general opinions of movies and media were very, very different and more nitpicky, I feel like I would have a very different problem. Like, I'd still have problems with, like, certain pieces of kids' entertainment, but I think they'd be very different problems, and a lot more frivolous problems than the ones that I have now. I think I was the one who put that block there, too. So, like, for example, I think back on like, the kind of things that I criticized in movies in my, like, YouTube reviews, like, 7-8 years ago, and, like, when talking about, like, kids films, stuff like G.I. Joe Rise of Cobra, which, like, that's a kids film, but, despite it being it was 14A here, which is bizarre. Like, it got, like, a violent rating, and that, you know, that movie is very much a kids movie, but, like, I would pick apart little things like, oh, well, the ice in the finale is sinking, despite the fact that ice is supposed to float, and it undermines the entire climax and stuff like that. But, like, now it's like, I'm much more likely to view these movies as like, oh, okay, you know, commercial cash grab based on nostalgia bait and stuff like that. I think that's the way that I would tend to view it now, which is also still very cynical, but in a different way. And I know definitely there are people who feel like that, specifically about things like Star Wars, like the new Star Wars movies. And I was thinking about this the other day mostly because, and I mentioned it about on the Minecraft stream, I think, about them using Duel of the Fates in one of the TV spots for the new Star Wars movie, and I was like, do we really have nostalgia for the prequels now? And I kind of worked out, well, yeah, it kind of does make sense that we would. But I think it's kind of weird because, like, the way that the prequels were viewed as cynical cash grabs, they're now sort of fondly looked upon, and we look at these new movies, which I think are, like, much better made films, much more engaging films, much more interesting films in terms of their characters and the drama between them, and their development. I think, you know, just overall, these new Star Wars movies are better. The sequel trilogy, and even some of the spin-offs like Rogue One, Solo not so much. I wasn't really cool, like, hot on that one. I said cool and then hot, which both mean the exact same thing in that context. But, you know, I don't think that they're bad movies at all, but we tend to view these ones now as like, oh, well, these are the cynical cash grab movies, especially with that whole sort of queer baiting thing that was going on recently regarding, oh, well, you know, there's going to be an LGBT character, but, like, everyone's like, oh, well, it's going to be the same thing as in like, say, like, the Beauty and the Beast live action thing, where it's just like, oh, we're gonna make LeFou gay, and we're gonna have, like, a throwaway line about it, and there's your representation, grovel for it. And I don't, and, like, I feel like I understand, like, where they're coming from for, like, oh, that was close. in terms of Star Wars, and as much as I hate that, I think still overall it doesn't like make the movie like necessarily worse. It's just like, man, I wish that was in there, and I wish they stopped like making excuses, because it very much reveals the fact that, you know, while they make these movies to sell in countries like China and countries like Russia, where that stuff is either outlawed, not permitted in media, right, or would lose them substantial amounts of money. And so, of course, that betrays the fact that, you know, it's of course, it's capitalism, right? Like, it's going to work like that. And it shouldn't work like that, but it's going to. And I think that within the confines of that, and if you acknowledge that and go to, like, okay, well, let's actually look at these movies and say, compare them to the previous movies that came out in this series. Are they really, like, as bad as some people are saying now? People ragged on The Last Jedi so hard, and I'm not the kind of person who will, like, I'll die on the hill of defending that movie, because I don't think there's anything, like, you have to defend that movie, like, the way that some people are like, oh, well, you have to defend the Ghostbusters remake or something like that. It's like, these movies don't have to be defended. It's like, they're movies and you have an opinion on them. They're not a team thing, you know? It's like, here's a piece of media. And, you know, it doesn't need a defense squad. It's like, did you like it? Did you not? And for which reasons? And I run into that argument enough times where it's like, give me a reason, give me a good defense of The Last Jedi without using the "it subverted expectations" reason. And I'm like, that almost feels like saying, give me a reason. Okay, this is probably like not an apt comparison because I think this is a much better film overall, but like, that's like saying, give me a defense of RoboCop and don't use the political satire angle as an argument. It's like, but that's what the movie is. And so, like, when talking about, like, Star Wars Last Jedi, like it's very clearly, like, that movie is about subverting expectations. Like, that's the whole point. And so by saying, don't, like, first of all, using the whole, like, you have to defend this movie thing, like, by saying, defend this movie without talking about the central conceit of the film, like, that feels like you're cheating. You're cheating in this sort of encounter, this false debate that you've set up in your head, where it's like you have to defend the qualities of this film without talking about what the movie is. That's so weird. I'm not sure if this is too loud. Also, we got the credits because we actually got through the game. We don't have everything unlocked. We're still missing things. There's a few characters. Oh my gosh. Frog in throat continues. Drink some Coke to cut through the filth. Cut Through the Filth, by the way, is a really cool song by Master. Master is an early death metal band that doesn't seem to get the kind of recognition that a lot of other early death metal bands do, like Death, Autopsy, Possessed, and so on. And they had an album, was originally going to be titled Unknown Soldier. It was going to be released in 1985. They recorded it, I think, most of it professionally or something like that. I think a few tracks were still in, like, the demo stage. Because that's kind of how they sound. Like, the production is very muddy on them. They released it much later as both unreleased 1985 album, as they call it, and as Unknown Soldier. One of the tracks on it is Cut Through the Filth, and Cut Through the Filth has a flute on it, and it's very weird. Also, I'll talk about death metal. I see the name Scott Burns on the screen. Different Scott Burns, obviously, but that's neither here nor there. Who is Scott Burns at Nintendo? Who is Scott Burns at Nintendo? The voice actor of Bowser. Also shares the name with the Scott Burns that I'm talking about, who's a very famous record producer for death metal bands and extreme metal in general. Listen to me, death metal, and mind you, like we were talking about production and death and Master's album. Maybe one of their albums was on the Seventh Day. Was that a Scott Burns one? Let me just check. When we talk about death metal, yeah. Scott Burns produced On the Seventh Day, God Created Master. But there's sort of a death metal to me when I think of old school death metal, like the classic sort of thing. I picture Dan Seagrave cover art, Scott Burns production, like those two. And I realized that that's probably very few cases. Like, I can probably think of, like, like, Suffocation's Effigy of the Forgotten and Gorguts Considered Dead. I think are, like, the two that pop out to me there. Let me just actually look at something here. Okay. Then now I'm actually curious how many albums actually fit that that particular or schema that I've set out there. I'm looking it up. I have to go to the Encyclopedia Metallica page or whatever to it. Metallum. What do we got? We got probably not very much here now that I think about it. Like, Gorguts Considered Dead, yes. Malevolent Creation. We don't talk about Malevolent Creation. I love, Monstrosity too. I love Malevolent Creation's first two albums. I love them. Too bad the band members suck. Like, as people, they're like racist. Yeah, Monstrosity, Pestilence, Testimony of the Ancients, Resurrection, Embalmed Existence. You got yeah, going down here, Suffocation, and it's like that's like it. Even though, what the hell? Scott Burns was engineering assistant on Toxic Think This? For real? Oh yeah, he is. He's not the producer. That's Tom Morris, but he worked on that. That's weird. That's weird. New things I learn every day. I've been on this Gold Cup screen. Hey, Toad and Toadette, welcome to the club. Sorry, I was talking about metal again. I got distracted. So we're doing 150cc. We're doing these two, and we're doing all of this. Again, I think. I want to get Mirror Mode and All Cup Tour unlocked. I think you have to do All Cup Tour first, and then you get Mirror Mode unlocked. Oh my gosh, this is not off to a good start. We're gonna be playing with those two though. I'm like certain on that. I think we should use the Koopa card, though. Focus! And you know, I've been thinking. Oh my gosh. I've been thinking here. Why did they ever take out the dual item boxes? Like, why did that ever, like, this seemed like this is like the pinnacle, and then like the next Mario Kart game was like, oh, well, I know you had the gimmick of the double dash for the last one, you know, the tag team thing, but we're gonna go to a downgrade here. So the whole you can carry two items thing, no. You're not gonna have that anymore. You get bikes this time. It's like, no, thank you, please bring that back. And then, like, they finally did, but, like, it was on the re-release. The re-release of Mario Kart 8 on a different system than the system it originated on. I also feel kind of bad because that comes preloaded with the DLCs, and I actually paid for the DLCs on the Wii U. So getting Mario Kart 8 Deluxe on Switch, it was like, oh. So I basically just paid again for the stuff I already paid for. Listen, there's pretty much no reason to own a Wii U. Because I think at this point, anything that was on it that was really worthwhile has been ported over to Switch. That could be, like, not true. There's probably a few games. And obviously for, like, game preservation's sake, if you know, the Wii U obviously has importance, because there are games on it that haven't been ported over. But I think of, like, the main ones that it's like, oh, if you're gonna play Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, don't play it on the Wii U, play it on the Switch. If you're gonna play Mario Kart 8, get it on the Wii U, don't play it on the Wii U, get it on the Switch. Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, don't play it on the Wii U, get it on the Switch. Super Mario Maker 1, I know there's some differences between that and Mario Maker 2, but I think overall Mario Maker 2 is, like, the better package. The only real difference, I think, is the amiibo costumes, which the fact that they're not in Mario Maker 2 is, like, baffling to me. And I think that's a little bit different now because they just introduced in the new update the Master Sword, which gives you, like, a Link costume, and Link has a full moveset there. So I think it'd be really cool if they could do that with, like, most of the other characters to kind of, like, replace the amiibo costumes, but give them, like, more function. You know what I mean? Because it's essentially is the amiibo costume still, but it has more stuff you can do with it. And I think if they continue doing that with some of the other ones, and I realize this game probably doesn't have a very long lifespan either, and it's just part of the problem with, like, the online service games, that eventually, you know, you're not going to be able to play Super Mario Maker anymore, not in the way it was intended to be played. I don't even know, like, Super Mario Maker 2, I mean. I don't even know if the servers for 1 are still up. That feels like that's something they would have gotten rid of by now. But who knows, maybe it's still around, maybe it still has a community, but I'm more willing to bet that the servers are no longer online. And for game preservation's sake, like, that sucks. Because, like, it doesn't matter about, like, oh, well, there's a better version of it out now. It's like, no, like, you missed the point. It's the fact that, you know, you're preserving the media, like, and people will be able to experience that again. People will be able to play it again, regardless of whether or not you personally think it's good. You got, like Darkspore is, like, basically unplayable, like, entirely unplayable. I think there's, like, fans who are trying to get parts of it working. I don't know enough about the game, honestly, but I think there has been, like, a fan effort, as there usually is, because there's always going to be fans. There's always going to be a fan effort. And that's why I think that, like, when you're doing that, like, if you're making a game like that where it's like an online service, and I hate games as a service, but if you're making it where it's like online service, it's like, I think you have almost sort of like a responsibility then to, like, if you have that kind of resources, you should have the responsibility to make the fans who have played that game, you know, who have bought your product, and sorry, excuse me, assuming, you know, it's not like maybe like a even in the subscription service case, I think this is true, but even if it's like not a subscription service, and especially if it's not a subscription service, like, somebody has paid for that game and you've taken away the functionality of that game, like, that's not fair. Like, I think that, like, not saying like, oh, well, they have to keep the servers up for games like that forever. But I think they should at least make the tools available for fan communities to keep servers like that up. Oh, come on! This is not going very well. Hello! Welcome to Mario Kart Double Dash. But, you know, get in on the Mario Maker 2 thing, like, right now, because, like, one day, and it's gonna be a day sooner than you know it, it's gonna be gone. Which is why I should probably get back to playing it, because it's like, I bought it. Might as well be able to play it when I'm able to play it, and not when it's unplayable. And that's also, like, an interesting thing, and maybe I should do, like, a video sort of looking into services like that have like disappeared. I mean, people have probably done like much more thoroughly researched videos than I could record. But I think that'd be another interesting thing to look at is, and especially ones from the past, because this is not not a new practice. It's just more popular now. But like I know there was like sort of an online service, like Japan only, for like the Super Nintendo, I believe. I know there was for the N64, and that there's software on there that's like no longer available, and it has no functionality because it was discontinued, right? And this is going to be a big thing with like Flash games too, because Flash games are going to get well, Flash is gonna be phased out, basically, which does not mean that Flash games are gonna disappear. It just means that newer browsers are gonna stop accepting Flash by default, and it means that Flash itself is not gonna get any more updates. So that means that it will not get any sort of security patching or anything done to it. Oh my god. Okay, remember when I said the other one was the worst dry desert I've ever had? This is probably worse. Get out of here. Okay, King Mushroom, please. King Mushroom. Okay, I really need this, man. I really need this win. Yeah, here, Pokey. I'm not gonna get the win, but oh! Oh, come on. You couldn't have struck earlier. Not good. I don't care how happy you are, Toad and Toadette. Not good. Oh! We still win. Okay, we're good. Listen, I talk about game preservation a lot on here, so I don't think I have to beat that horse any further. That's a terrible euphemism, but I don't think we have to continue doing that. All right, let's go. Flower Cup, Mushroom Bridge, Mario Circuit, Daisy Cruiser, Waluigi Stadium. I'm not entirely sure how you get to that, like, that pipe there. I think you have to, like, get off the side, like, near the bridge. But I don't think I've ever taken that shortcut before. I've seen people do it. Like, I think it's... like, it's not here, but it's, like, up ahead. It could not be done. Like, it's like down that way. On the side back there. And this has just got me thinking about the whole talk about theme park rides and roller coasters that we were going over earlier with the tunnels and stuff. I think. It's all coming back to me now. All right, I'm gonna clear out here. I don't want anything to do with that blue shell. Wiggler bus. You know, I went on a segmented bus for the first time. The one that has like sort of the bendy accordion bit in the middle. That was a little bit weird. That thing, like, it's kind of like turns around a little bit. It's more like a joint, you know? Well, I guess it would have to be. But that's, I don't know, it's fairly weird. Oh my gosh, thank you. Fairly strange. They got seats that face backward, which are not very helpful because then it's like, well, I can't see where I'm going. Not helpful in unfamiliar areas. Hello, folks. I'm still doing this, and like weasel fingers on the A button. No particular real reason for that, because I know that that's not how it works. And I consider myself a rational human being, just like every other human being considers themselves to be. Also lost my boost because of that. And you'd think, you know, if you are a rational person, that you would not ascribe to such, like, sort of superstitions, like you gotta hammer the A button or else you're not gonna get the boost. I got the mushroom from there, but it did not count because I was still in my stagger animation. And that was very fun. I think that all of my speed was actually negated by me landing on the grass there. Listen, I can't look at the speedometer at the same time as I'm throwing mushrooms and stuff. Real driving, different. You can check the speedometer. Here, this is not real driving. This is Mario Karting. I also think that video game driving is probably like a really bad indicator as to whether or not you'd be comfortable or good at driving behind the wheel of a real vehicle. Could you imagine like playing Grand Theft Auto except like you have to obey the rules of the road? I mean, obviously the NPCs don't really do that, but like that'd be like a challenge. It probably is. Someone's probably taken it upon themselves to go like, okay, I'm playing GTA, but I have to abide by all vehicular laws. Anything to do with that automobile, you cannot steal well, I mean, you can steal, because you gotta steal, but it's called Grand Theft Auto for a reason. But once you get in it, it's like you gotta, like, stop at those red lights and the stop signs. Alright, it's okay. I think I can take that on that course if I do well on the next one. Which I won't, because this is one of the ones I always have trouble with. Every time I look at this course, I think of the cruise ship from Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3, and I think of Wolverine, because Wolverine's one of the unlocks in that game, on one of the versions anyway. And I think of like shattering all the glass in like on the ship. Once you shatter all the glass, you actually get like a little Easter egg in that game. But that's immediately what I think of when I see this course. I'm like, oh, cruise ship, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3. All right, steer clear of this. BK and Bowser Jr. The strange pair. I wonder what part of like the game's engine actually decides the pairing for the NPCs, or if it's entirely random. Because sometimes they're paired together with the partner that they're meant to be with. But other times... Oh, I heard like a shoo. I thought, is that... Oh, yeah, it is. Just took a moment to catch up with me. Bowser Jr., do not... I see you on the map, you're on my tail. And you're not gonna catch up with me. Okay, well... You see, this means war. Oh, come on! That's weird that the Koopa Shells don't really make that noise much anymore. I was talking about how, like, the Mario series hasn't really evolved since, like, this era. But, like, I guess, you know, there's an instance of something that has changed, is you don't really hear the Koopa Shells making that woo 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 noise anymore. I don't even think they make that noise in Mario Kart anymore. I'm probably entirely wrong about that. Oh my god, you bastards. Hit it, hit it, hit it, hit it, you. Okay, well, so we're not doing well in this course. You little, okay. That's better. That's better, but I think we're gonna get stuck. Bowser Jr., do not interact. Please. Can I get first place on the next course? Oh. But it's Waluigi Stadium, so probably not. This was primarily the Mario Kart game that I played when I was a kid. But I did also play Mario Kart 64. I had friends who had Mario Kart 64. Although I didn't really play that one as much. Because it was like, hey, there's Double Dash. Everyone's got Double Dash. We gotta play Double Dash. That's like the superior game. Mario Kart 64 is not very good. Like, it does not stand the test of time, in my opinion. And it's not just because it's like, oh, well, dated graphics and everything else. It just doesn't... It feels so slidey. It feels primitive in a way that this game does not. Despite the fact that this is, you know, like a 15-year-old game. A game that came out, you know, maybe like, what, like 5 years prior to it? You know, that's like a massive difference, because this feels just about as playable as any Mario Kart game now. Mario Kart 64 feels like sliding around like a hamburger patty on a slippery ketchup bun. It doesn't feel right. And it's not just like the slipperiness of the controls, it's just everything just feels so rough. And I can kind of get that with I'm doing great. Fantastic. Oh, perfect. Oh. Wombo comboed. But I can kind of like get that on like Super Nintendo Mario Kart, because that as it is like a system pushing game, because it's taking advantage of a lot of things, particularly like the Mode 7. But for like the N64, and I realized like there's other N64 like racing games that came after, like Kart Racers that came after, and of course they're going to build on top of the legacy of what came beforehand, but like there's like so many things that are so much better about, like, say, Diddy Kong Racing. Like the handling in that game and just everything, it feels so much more polished than Mario Kart 64 does. Like, that game just feels, like, off. It doesn't feel as finished. It doesn't feel as polished. Okay, no. We did not do as good. Might have to do this again. Absolutely have to do this again. Great. Well, we will do exactly that. We will do it again. About 2.5 hours into the stream, I should probably ask this if the volume levels are okay. Like, if I'm properly audible over the game audio. Because it just dawned on me now that maybe I'm too quiet. Okay, now why am I on 100? Am I on 100? I need to be on 150. Alright, you know what? Maybe we can skip that one for now. We can go on to the next one. Can come back. Yeah, sounds fine. Good. And I have Mario Kart 64 too. I didn't have it as a kid, but I bought it, and I play it sometimes. You know, bring it over to a friend's house. It's like, hey, let's play some old games. Do that sometimes, and it's like, hey, you know, it's sort of a fun novelty, but it's like, if I had the choice, would I rather play Mario Kart 64 or or Diddy Kong Racing? It's like Diddy Kong Racing every time. That game is like, it's a better experience to play. And listen, it's got an adventure mode, which just makes it better. Icicle Mountain. Like, Diddy Kong Racing is, like, it's awesome, it's great. I don't like the fact that if you're playing it on multiplayer of any more than 2 people that it has no music. That sucks, because it's got a pretty good soundtrack. I think that's David Wise doing the music on that game. But really, like, it's better and it's more fun to play than Mario Kart 64 for me. The N64 did have a lot of, like, really good sort of, like, multiplayer games. Where it's just like, hey, you know, get you know, your friends come over, play this, have some fun. Mario Party, obviously, it has the first 3 of them are on there. It's got the first Super Smash Brothers, which that game is pretty rough, but, you know. And we're talking about, like, the first and second party type games. For those ones. But, you know, it's got the shooters on it, too. It's got GoldenEye. And listen, GoldenEye is pretty rough around the edges if you go back and play it now, but, like, it's pretty fun to play still with a group of friends. Got the Turok games. Play Turok 2's multiplayer. Turok, or, the multiplayer only one. I think Rage Wars is what it was called. Play that one. Just a lot of interesting things. Oh, great. Excellent. You know, it's just playing games like this, the GameCube games. It's from around the same time, but it's like almost like a noticeably different stage, even though it's like only a couple years later, noticeably different stage of my childhood. Okay, just have to take this hit. Die. So I think of this game, I think of Mario Golf Toadstool Tour, I think of Super Smash Brothers. I had a classmate who were very into writing sort of like Nintendo fan fiction, and the big crossover thing. Oh, Super Smash Brothers. Talk about cinematic universes. This guy would write fan fiction, and he would read it to the class. Super Mario Brothers fan fiction, Super Smash Brothers fan fiction. Of course, no one quite understood. But listen, kids did like that stuff like that all the time. Listen, when I was like 12, 13, I was under the impression I would be able to make a fan film of something one day, and I came up with so many ideas, and boy howdy, I tried. Oh my gosh! Put your blinker on. Okay, Bowser. Oh, I can't believe I missed. Oh my gosh. Bowser! Not too great.
Okay.
Still pulling ahead. Just don't screw it up. And so, like, I ended up kind of funneling that sort of energy toward, like, doing very similar sort of, like, oh, well, how about I just do, like, fan fiction things? I wrote this, like, long, like, Kirby fan fiction that was, like, dark and edgy and weird. And you can probably find it somewhere. It's written quite terribly. You can probably find it somewhere. But I've kind of eradicated it from the internet. Here's me talking about game preservation and how it's important to preserve media for future generations. Like, nah, that fanfic, oh, good luck. Try looking it up on the Wayback Machine. It's terrible. But it crossed my mind to, like, maybe, like, come back and, like, take some of those ideas and do something interesting with them. Like, maybe, like, a fan comic or something. Like, just, like, a little brief thing. Then I'm like, oh, don't work. I'm an adult now. I gotta make time for stuff like that. And again, like, how much time do I really have to make for it, considering, like, I was able to do it the first time while, you know, being a kid and student in school, right? Why can't I find the time to do it now while being an adult? You know, substitute school for work. I don't even have homework. I don't have to take home homework, so it's actually technically easier. Like, really, it's like, why can't I do it? I guess it's sort of like, gotta pick your battles thing of which project you really want to pursue, and like 90% of the time it's like, oh, I want to do something original. Oh, come on. This Wario and Waluigi, like, they're just, like, nasty. Come on, get him. Oh! Revenge is sweet. We got it, we got it, we got it. We got it in the bag. Alright, wow, okay. That was a little intense there. I was like, oh no, we can't fail this time. No, I think we're pretty secure unless we like totally bomb the next course. They are called courses, not tracks. Like officially they're called courses, but DK Mountain is a tough one. So let's not mess it up. Looking close to messing it up at the start here. Oh, that was a bad usage of it. I was hoping that I could maybe like trip them before they got in the cannon, and that would have given them a pretty big time loss there, but I think you want to minimize the amount of time you spend in the air here, because you go slower in the air. I mean, like, that feels like it's an obvious thing to say, but I should really be, like, getting these drift boosts off the corners here, but sometimes it just doesn't like the drifting. That time it worked. Alright, I think I'm gonna hold on to this shell until after we get over the chasm here. Somebody shoots something nasty at me, I will drop it to the back. What was this about staying on the ground as much as possible? Oh my god! And listen, by not using that shell, I've actually lost place. Oh my gosh. Hey, this might actually be the chance we're looking for. Now we can, like, quietly maneuver around the edges here. Hey. Hey, and it happened to most of the people on the track, so we're okay. Creating a line of bananas there, someone's gonna trip on it. Although I know when they're a certain distance away from you, they will actually, like, just totally avoid the hazards altogether. Because rubber banding. Well, it's not, I mean, it's not true rubber banding, but it's to make things more challenging. Because true rubber banding would cause them to actually speed up or, like, jump in position. But it's essentially sort of the same principle of what's going on. Where it's like, okay, well, here's an item that would have, like, here's an obstacle that would have slowed them down, but they're just going to go right through it because they're not a human player and they're meant to be a challenging enemy for you. Also, when you're in first, you don't get any useful items anyway, so best to just hold on to it like this. We're good. Hey, look at that! Did we unlock anything interesting? Did we unlock anything cool? Like a cart or something? A cart in Mario Kart. Imagine that. I suppose the only thing that really dates this game is, like, all the Super Mario Sunshine stuff. Because that was the big Mario title from the time. It's like, here's the Piantas and the Cataquacks. Oh, there's the barrel train. And so we're gonna keep with the Toad team here. And we're gonna go with, yeah, Special Cup, why not? I was like, do we go back and do the flower one? Nah, we're gonna do Special Cup. I didn't get the boost off of that, so hopefully we can pull forward. We're not going by time here, it's just as long as we win. I'm not even drifting. I was gonna say grinding, and I'm like, this is not Tony Hawk? Eat my dirt! I was watching, there was a, Simpsons Hit and Run stream that, Mike Panutz did, and I was watching that, and just, oh, it just keeps coming back to me at, like, the worst times is, when Smithers says, eat dick, buddy. It's a pretty funny moment. Explaining something does not make it funny. In fact, it makes it significantly less funny. There's probably a point at which you could explain a joke hard enough that it does become funny again. Oh my god, look at that. I'm in second place, and I got the... Kirk, Kirk. I like Toad's animation. He's just like doing the Numa Numa. Listen, we're gonna do Retro Software Rewind again one day, and we're gonna talk about Numa Numa. Actually, we might have even covered it already. I know we went back to old Newgrounds. But that's something that I wanna cover, is that stuff. I wasn't sure if I want to do it on Retro Software Rewind. It's something very adjacent to this idea, which is the internet pranks. So we were including talking about screamers and stuff. I saw a video by an individual. I don't actually remember the name, but I subscribed to his channel, followed him on Twitter and everything, because he did a video on internet screamers. It was more of just like an experience type thing, not like a review or an essay or anything like that. It was more like, hey, here's something, let's go take a look at them, let's check them out. And so I was initially kind of discouraged from maybe making this video, but I think I can do it in a way that's different than that. In that I want to make a video just talking about internet pranks in general. Originally I was going to make it part of like a Retro Software Rewind stream that I was going to do, but I've kind of decided maybe I've got something to say about it. Maybe I've got like a little bit of a story to tell about it. So I've been thinking about that. And I want to cover, yes, screamers, but that's just one part of it. I want to cover some other ones too. And the history of like internet pranks. Or computer pranks in general, because it's not just internet ones. You can go back to like some of the oldest like prank viruses. Like not like malware there to steal your information malware, but like just ones there to scare you. Just ones to prank you. And maybe I can talk about some of my own experiences about stuff like that. I know in terms of like viruses and stuff, just a bizarre one, and I probably said this before. Do you know how many times I say I probably mentioned this before on a stream? Like, and I've probably mentioned this before too. Like, for real, though, one of the viruses that I had was, it just played the audio from a Powerpuff Girls episode. Like, that was it. That was all that happened, and I wasn't sure what it was, where it was coming from. Turns out, a little bit of the virus scan in safe mode, that was able to do it. That fixed it. Oh my God! What? We avoided that? How did that happen? I actually just noticed. Like, I thought it was a difference in one of the later Mario Kart games, but the sort of little tickly arpeggio noise that plays when you get struck by lightning in the other like Mario Kart games. Oh no, it's in Mario Kart 64. It's like that too. But it's also prominent in some of the other games too. I didn't think it was in this one, but I just heard it. It's very quiet. Also, this course just kind of sucks. And by sucks means I'm not good at it. That's the primary problem, you know? It's all about whether or not you're good at a course. Not about if it's well designed. Also, I don't think I've ever really taken that second path. You can. I don't think it's quicker. It might be. There's a jump you can make over to the right there as long as you have like a mushroom. But it's like hard. And I think it's mostly there as like something for you to show off while you're playing multiplayer with your friends. Like, hey guys, check out this sick jump I can do. Wow, how long have you practiced that? Oh, just every single time I've been owning my brother, who's 5 years old, while playing this. Or like my brother who's like 2 years old while playing this. Wow, look at this. Now I can show it off to my classmates. This sounds like a very specific occurrence. I trust that you understand that it's not. I also see my ultimate add-on collection for Doom and Doom 2 next to me, and I'm like, I should get back to streaming some of that. That was an interesting collection of stuff. Hey, you know what? This is one of my favorite tracks in the game. I think it's fairly well laid out. I like the little twists and turns in it. The only part I don't really like is this big hole in the middle there, but I like this. I like how the course like sort of folds in on itself, and it's like, hey, here's that balcony area you saw right at the beginning there, and here you are zipping around it on the other side. I just realized those walls up there are like entirely 2D, like they're not 3D at all. I also like this jump. Like, this is a time saver, like a real time saver. It probably actually isn't a measurable time saver, but it feels like it. Oh, I was hoping I couldn't hit that. I move my head away from the mic to breathe in. You ever get those like sort of feelings like, hey, why can't we go back to the days of Chocolate Rain and Old Spice guy parody ads? Or ad parodies, rather. Hello, how are you? Fantastic. Does your man look like me? No. Can he smell like me? Yes. Remember the remixes? Oh, I overshot it! Yeah, they can have my item box as a consequence. In my efforts to try to avoid that. Miss the old days too. But that feels like it wasn't really too far off, like only by a few years, but that also feels like a very distinct period compared to like the Numa times, you know? That was a few years before. Not even like too many years before. But we're talking about like the difference between like 2009 and 2006. Run body wash. I'm not quite sure. Is that... Hold on. Run body wash. This might be a... Is this... Oh, is that one of the remixes? There are so many. Oh yeah, that was a remix of one of the Terry Crews, Tim and Eric ones. Fun fact, you may not have known this, but the Terry Crews, Old Spice body wash commercials are Tim and Eric sketches. Like, they were directed by Tim and Eric. Which I didn't figure out until afterward, and I was like, oh, that explains it. No, the ones that I'm thinking of are like... Hold on, let me just mute this and pop this over here. This is kind of difficult to manage because I only have one monitor at this point. Because I'm using the other one for the GameCube thing, but, Did he do an Old Spice one? Hold on. Old Spice guy. No. You know, it's probably easier if I just open this up on YouTube and don't look at it on Google. Because Google's not going to help me. Old Spice remix. I don't know, because there's just so many of them. Who's Tim and who's Eric? I don't know if this is actually like a joking question or if a legitimate one. Eric Wareheim and Tim Heidecker. Two comedians that rose to prominence in the mid to late 2000s. Famous for sort of their oddball, off-the-wall sort of sketch comedy that is basically the foundation for, like, modern meme culture. Hold on, where is... Like, I'm trying to find... Is this the right one? I wouldn't be able to tell because I don't have my, my headphones plugged into the the other set of speakers here. Here, I'm gonna MacGyver a situation here. There's a reference to something I'm not familiar with, but I know the reference. Is this the one I'm thinking of? Let's pop this over here. A serious question in a jokey format. Ah, you didn't know. Well, I suppose now you do. Is this the one I'm thinking of?
How can I smell like space shuttles? That's easy. Hello.
I don't think so. I remember this one.
1, 2, 3, 4. I'm on.
Back before, you know, we really had a real handle on what remixes were, I guess. What am I looking at here? I don't remember the one, like, I have the one, it's like stuck in my head. I can hear it, but I don't remember which one it was. The full playlist, and I'm not talking about the Terry Crews remixes. I want the Isaiah Mustafa commercials remixes, you know? Because people went ham with the Terry Crews, Tim and Eric commercial ones. I want the Isaiah Mustafa, like the original Old Spice guy commercial. This is the one that I just clicked on, isn't it? It's a different upload of the same one, isn't it? I don't... Like, look up, let's add a little Isaiah on there. I don't want to give Tobuscus a click.
Now back to me.
No, this is absolutely not it. Forget Tobuscus. We don't talk about that guy. What? Like, no, I don't know where it is. It's probably because it's like, I saw it once and it's like, not even like up here anymore. It might not even be on YouTube anymore. I was gonna say, it's probably, oh my god. A Sparta remix. Oh.
The tickets are now dying. Tickets are now done. Tickets are now done. Tickets are now done. Tickets are now done.
Okay. Okay. That's not the one I'm looking for. This one? This is not, no, that's not at all. That's the right commercial. It's the do you like the smell of adventure one. But I can't find the remix that I'm looking for, so unfortunately we're gonna just have to go back to yeah, Run Run Body Wash, yeah, like I know that one there, but like that's not the one I'm talking about. Tickets are now diamonds, Mr. Old Spice. That was so very weird that they ran those two different ad campaigns, the one that was with Terry Crews and the one that was with Isaiah Mustafa, and they were both very like loud and very subversive and strange in their own individual ways. But like they really had nothing to do with each other. Like they were probably managed by two separate ad agencies entirely. And I don't know, that like it's kind of strange that they would do that. And then I mean eventually they did cross them over, but that feels like that was like an accident. Like that was like, oh hey, we've got these two, because they ran at the same time. Those two campaigns. It's like you got two bald African American dudes. Ugh, right in the drink there. Got two bald African American dudes wearing towels, acting in a very sort of not unorthodox comedy, I want to say, unconventional comedy, and in sort of bizarre sort of set pieces that had nothing to do with each other, and they ran those commercials at the same oh my god, look how flat they are. At the same time. It's weird. You know, one of the things that, and like I mean if you're watching this now, maybe you're probably aware, you could be, if you've ever seen any of my old YouTube videos that are no longer on YouTube. But coming back to that thing I was talking about probably like an hour and a half ago, is about like commercials and stuff and ad campaigns. One of the things I did was sort of these I almost sort of unashamedly ripped the style off of like the Nostalgia Critic commercial break episodes, which I think are like they're fun watches at the time. I know you can say what you want about Nostalgia Critic now. I know I have certain particular feelings of oh my god about that show, but the commercial thing that series that he ran, where he would review like and sort of talk about, joke over, nitpick old commercials. I kind of did that, but I did it for these concerned children's advertisers, public service announcements, and I kind of want to talk about those again, but in sort of a more restrained, less internet reviewer from 2007 to 2010 era type video, you know. I want to have like actually talk about, I want to do some like deeper research into the production of those commercials, and I was hoping to do that back then too. I didn't think I had necessarily the resources to do that at the time though. However, I think, you know, being older now, I think I have a better sense of what I want to do with a video like that. I think I have a better sense of what I would like to say, and the content I'd like to put in it, and maybe sort of the kind of resources that are available, you know, like I want to see if maybe I can talk to someone who's involved in the production of like maybe one or two of those. I'd like to know where, you know, the don't you put in your mouth puppets, like what happened to them? Like they're clearly physical things that exist. What happened to them? I kind of want to even talk about, you know, how strange it is. Here's a little preview of a video that I may never even make, but how strange it is to like see something in a film like that, or like a short film, or a commercial like that, and see like a physical thing, like a puppet, and go like, that was a physical, real thing that existed. It's not like a CGI creation. It's not an animation. You know, it's not even like I mean, even like traditional animation is like animation cells that exist, the physical things that exist. But like those puppets are real. Like they were somewhere, somebody had them, and somebody knows what happened to them. And I want to kind of touch on that sort of strangeness there, and maybe hopefully even find out what happened. I'd like to do that. The SMB Movie Archive does that for the Super Mario Brothers movie. They even acquired the head of the Yoshi animatronic that was used in the film. So it's like, you know, a lot of times stuff like this is preserved somewhere. It's in a warehouse or what have you. But I would like to see it. The towels they wore were also real. So like, yeah, for like the Concerned Children's advertisers, I would like to see where those puppets went. I would like to know the process that went into filming some of them. And the thing is, some of them, I'm fairly certain, were produced here in this city that I live in, the Chorus Entertainment Studio, I believe. I could be wrong about that, but you know, if I could just toss some emails around, maybe hopefully someone will get back to me at some point. And it's interesting because sometimes people do get back to me about sort of the things that I cover. On my old channel, I did a whole video on The Mystery of Tooltown, which is a kids educational video game. And I was talking about how frustrating it was to get through it because a lot of it was very broken, and I was doing sort of a very, I want to say, JonTron type thing. Oh, hey, I got all cups. Guess what we're doing? Guess what we're doing? Yeah, I did sort of like a very JonTron type thing with it, where I was just kind of making fun of it. But somebody actually did end up emailing me, I think. They got back to me. And you know, what was I saying? They got back to me and talked about like what it was like working on the project, and that was interesting. And it happened again recently. Somebody left a YouTube comment on the Air Academy video, well, the Retro Software Rewind stream that I did with Air Academy, A Quest for Airtopia on it, and they talked about just a few basic details about like where the game came from and stuff like that. And it's like, hey, you know, so this is possible. Like, you know, these people are still around, and you know, they're still able to talk about a lot of the things that I would want to cover on like maybe a full video on a channel. So maybe these are people I can get in touch with, you know, about, say, like with the Concerned Children's advertisers thing. Maybe someone is able to, like, I'm able to reach out to someone in regards to that. I don't know, it'd be interesting. We casually got first in the cup that I can't while talking about commercials. Oh, on the on this whatever one I did last, the special cup. I'm not even paying attention to the game. I've just been talking about old commercials. This easy. I should play Kirby's Air Ride again. Is it Kirby's Air Ride or is it Kirby Air Ride? I can never remember which is the correct one. Yoshi, get off my tail. Yeah. But that one's weird because it doesn't feel as much skill is involved. Like, you can still do, like, drifting and stuff. You don't get any boosts off of it. Not easy for me. That's a hard for you, but the easy for me. Mario teaches typing too. Can't remember either. I played it once on a stream, and it was, like, a bad stream. And I don't think I even saved the stream, so I think it's lost forever. But yeah, it was not very good. But I would like to, like, you know, sort of do what I'm doing now with Kirby Air Ride, is sort of go back and play it and try to get the unlocks, basically. Do a stream where I try to get the unlocks rather than like, hey, here's this and here's this. Actually, I think the only reason I played it was I was playing it after playing a bunch of Kirby fan games. Oh yes, I remember why that stream kind of sucked so much was because I had an audio error where my microphone was basically inaudible over the volume of the games. Or no, it was the other way around. The volume of the games was like inaudible over my microphone. I don't remember. There was something like that going on. Because I ain't got no body. Yeah, you got it. There you go. Because I ain't got no body. Although I am more prone to thinking about that Mario teaches typing 2 quote with the YouTube poops. And I don't remember which one it is. Oh, do you know what? It's probably what is it called? Mario's decapitated head entertains you or something like that. Who did that? Is that a walrus guy? Is that a walrus guy one? I don't know. But right after that, he says, because I'm an evil Koopa wizard, which is taken from Magic Koopa from the Mario World TV show. I wanted to get Air Ride for years, but alas, is expensive. Is it expensive? I gotta look this up. What is price charting? Let's look at it. All right, so we got loose. So by loose is just the disc price? Is that what it's saying? Complete in box with the manual, with the box and everything. So like what I got. Actually, I'm not sure if the manual's in the box. I hope it is. Probably isn't. I have the manual somewhere, I know. But okay, so that's about $35. Is that US? US dollars? I'm assuming that's what that's in. Well, let's see it on eBay. Brand new. Well, that's not what I want. Okay, so looking at it plus... Oh my god, that is kind of expensive. So, like, plus shipping, I mean, like, you can kind of, like, have that and then average it out at about $50 is what you'd probably normally be paying for it if you saw it in a, like, a game store around here. Gosh. I had no idea it was that expensive. I remember Pikmin 2 being kind of expensive. How much is that going for? On eBay, that is. Okay, so about the same. The shipping. Oh, with everything in the box? You're looking at like $75. Oh my god. That's... Man, I had no idea. How many pounds or something? That's kind of amazing. I don't know, I just see it as like, oh, well, that was a game that I had when I was a kid. I've had it since I was a kid. That game came out during the Kirby drought. The Kirby console drought, definitely. I mean, You still had some handheld games. You had Amazing Mirror and Squeak Squad kind of came out in that period of time. Nightmare in Dreamland 2, obviously, but I don't really count Nightmare in Dreamland just because it was a remake. Okay, you can't screw up Dry Dry Desert, dude. I've played Dry Dry Desert more than like any other course in Mario Kart, I think. So I think that I'm generally pretty adept at playing it. That's a funny little thing. Just put the item box where the other item box usually spawns, or could spawn. Looks like it should spawn. Makes sense when you're playing multiplayer with other people. Don't know why I put it there, because the AI is not going to recognize it. Hang on. Guess who has it complete? Wait, what was the name of the YouTube poop you were talking about? I'm actually going to find it right now. Let's pop it up. No, Mario, not Naruto. What was it called? Is this the correct one? This could be it. This could be it. So we're gonna have a little bit of fun here. Thanks to Vorhias. Oh, remember this? Here, I gotta pop this over here. Remember this when people would list like their rankings in here for like their category rankings? Like this person put it in education because haha, epic master troll. But yeah, no, we're gonna watch this. Give me the full screen. I think this is the one. Hold on, I'm just gonna bring up the desktop audio here. I'll have to bring it back down afterward, but we'll do this. Oh, this is it. I think.
No. Can I sing a song for you? When the moon hits you high like a big pizza pie, that's everybody. I'm going to fly for you. Can I sing a song for you?
I wish they all could be California. Wish they all could be California.
Hey! Are you ready to sing a song for Mario? Okay? And 3. That's hard for you, but easy for me. You know why?
Because I'm an evil Koopa wizard.
There it is.
Say, I'm hungry. Okie dokie 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 dokie. Peekaboo.
Is that it? Oh, that's such a classic. Is like the false ending. You got this. You got this. And then like just one of the earlier little bits, just stick it in at the end. That's classic YouTube poop. Classic. Nightmare in Dreamland is your favorite? Did I stream Nightmare in Dreamland? I think I did. I think I got it on my channel. I like Nightmare in Dreamland quite a bit. I think overall, like it's just generally an improvement on. Oh, it's generally an improvement on. What do you call it? On Kirby's Adventure. But there are still things from Kirby's Adventure that I miss that are not in Nightmare in Dreamland. I miss Rolling Turtle. I miss there's a couple little things. There's a room in I want to say it's Butter Building. It could be Ice Cream Island. No, it's definitely Ice Cream. Is it? I don't remember. Where in Kirby's Adventure you walk around it and like it's really impressive on the NES because like the background scrolls. I just realized I don't have the sound on. Might be off in a minute. It's almost 5 in the morning. Really bad. Send help. Oh man. Yikes. Hopefully you don't have to be up to do anything like important tomorrow. Or rather today. I guess it'd be tomorrow for me. That's a tomato for you, but today for me. Or the other way around. What is who's in first? Oh, these lily-livered. I got no chance. I got no chance here. But here's the thing. And here's the thing about this. But like it's like this is my best course too, and I'm doing so terribly on it. All because that one screw up there. But we do have a lot of time to make it up. We have every other freaking course. So we can probably make it up in the end. That's the benefit of All Cup Tour. I would say that YouTube poop has like an enormous influence on my sense of humor. Even if I don't find a lot of it as funny anymore, I just feel like I watched so much of it that like it's like Dr. Rabbit from Colgate is inherently funny to me. In the same way that like Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog is inherently funny in like a way that obviously it wasn't intended to be, and in a way that like it really even isn't in the context of the YouTube poops anymore, because like it's cliche at this point, but it's almost at a sense of like ironic appreciation. Like I don't know, like the Pingus and the, you know, Sonic Says, the Dr. Rabbit, obviously you got the Hotel Mario, you got the Link Faces of Evil, Wand of Gamelon. That's, you know, that's some stuff. And that stuff is like automatically funny. You put that in anything right now, and that's basically like it's funny because it's referential humor to like the referential humor of a bygone era. Okay, so we're in trouble here. If I can't get a first on Baby Park, we are in trouble. Not before the evening. It's your dad's birthday and you're going out for dinner. Well, happy birthday to your dad. Where's my thing? I think I can stand to have it about here. I'm trying to pop open another window here just so I can please do it in time. Oh, maybe it doesn't work unless I probably have to run as administrator. I don't know, some programs it's like I am the administrator on my own freaking computer. But certain things still don't run unless you put run as administrator. I just got to pan it over here. I've learned the keyboard shortcuts for moving stuff over. I'm happy about. So now I can do one of the. I can't hear it, mind you. Because I'm oh, here you go. Well, watch more Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog YouTube poops. A guy called I Teach Vader makes them. Interesting. Is that still like a thing that people like do like frequently? Because I feel like that wouldn't be a thing. Yes, I can Pingus. I have the Pingus button on my computer. Provided I have my soundboard open. Which I usually do when I open up OBS, so I don't know why I didn't have it. OBS. Streamlabs OBS, I guess. So I don't know why I didn't have it open. I really, really like this stage. Like, more than I should. Maybe because it's got all the curves around it here. It's fairly flat. So drifting is fun. The ice physics are a little bit wonky, but they're not like too difficult to deal with. And it's a very short course too. Like, obviously not Baby Park short, but for 3 laps on a course like this size, it's like, okay. So All Cup Tour is all cups at 150cc difficulty, right? And 150cc speed. That's what I assume. I can't be 100% certain on that. It might be like slightly different. I'm surprised that went through the thing. Yeah, like I mentioned, like this and Dry Desert, my 2 favorite courses in this game. Maybe I should do Toadstool Tour as well, like the chill Toadstool Tour, Mario Golf Toadstool Tour stream. I was actually playing some Mario Power Tennis the other day, and I was surprised at like how much fun I was having with it. Despite the fact that it's like Mario Power Tennis, which I don't really even like very much to begin with. At least... You kidding me? Oh. Winter heating is off in my room. I'm not cold at all. I have 3 kind of thin blankets. I actually shut my heat vent in my room here because it was getting too warm in here, and I would prefer it to be colder so that I can put blankets on than for it to be too warm because I can't take my skin off, you know? I'm not gonna, like, flay myself. That would hurt. I already hurt myself enough today with the, Sorry, I have a... You know when it's like you're trying to swallow and like your throat's just not letting you? Yeah. But like, yeah, I already hurt myself today with the window, so... I need a... You know what I need, though? I need to get, like, a new heating... Like, I have a heating pad, but it sucks. No offense to my heating pad, but I would prefer if it had, like, softer edges and, you know, didn't have, like... Oh, well, it's like an older one where you can, like, take the outer sleeve off. Like, it's a cheaper one, too. Where you can, like, take the outer sleeve off and it's got, like, just the plasticky thing on the... I want one that's, like, just no scratchy plastic edges, just all fabric. Global warming gets too much, I might need to have air conditioning. It's kind of cold out here now. I could actually, like, I could literally just look at my phone here. Careful not to bump my capture card too hard and ruin everything I've worked for. Only -7 Celsius. Not bad. But it's gonna get colder. Welcome to December. In Canada. I'm gonna say December does not always mean cold. December in Australia and New Zealand, very, very different. It's sweltering hot down there. By down there, it could also be up there, down under. There's no up or down in space. It's interesting, like, all the little things that you don't really consider until, like, you have to have it, like, pointed out to you. Like, the fact that, well, there's no real, like, logical or scientific way or reason for us to have, like, maps oriented the way that we have it. Like the north up, south down, North America, well, the Americas on the right, Europe on the left, Europe on the right thing. like how you typically see like an atlas. There's no reason for us to have it that way. No, like, actual, like, there's reasons why we do have it that way, but there's no legitimate reason to keep it that way. Like, scientifically, it's like, well, you know, you could make a map for the Earth, like, no matter which way you look at it. There's socio-political reasons, obviously. 8 Celsius here in Britain. It's supposed to be colder. Well, I'm very thankful that we don't have snow on the ground there. I hear that in most parts, at least more of the more populated parts of, like, Britain, I guess, you know, expanding it to sort of like the United Kingdom as a whole. Listen, don't quiz me on the... Don't quiz me on the specifics of England versus Britain versus the UK, because I know there's differences. I know England is specifically the country of England itself. That's about it. The difference between Britain, Great Britain, and the UK, the precise differences, I think has to do with, like, Ireland, Northern Ireland, Scotland, and the degree to which they are included in the definition. America on the left, because otherwise it'd be too patriotic. Well, I mean, you have a point there about American patriotism. Britain is the UK. Interesting. There's an entire Wikipedia article on this, I'm sure. I've never had to learn it. Just like I've never had to learn what all the states are. Like, I know what they all are. Could I name them? No. Like, if somebody mentioned to me, like one of the states, I'd be like, yeah, that's a state. Could I name them all in succession? Probably not. I can't even name the 7 dwarves in succession. Like, most of the time I'm missing one of them. I can't name the dwarves from The Hobbit in succession. Usually I'm missing one of them. I think it's when it gets to, like, numbers of that size, it starts to become a little bit more confusing. But at least I can do it within Canada, because we have that drilled into our head. You gotta differentiate us from the Americans. We don't learn about the American states here whatsoever. It's all about learning, and I'm sure you don't in over there in the UK either. But like, I know it's like very much a thing in American schools. It's like in elementary school you have to memorize the states. At least as far as like my media exposure to the United States educational system has been, like, that's what it kind of is. Here it's like, we want our own equivalent to that. You gotta memorize all 13 provinces and territories. Well, 13's a lot less than 50. Oh, come on. Hold on. Wales is included in the UK. I don't know all the UK counties. I can name any Pokemon from a picture, but I only remember 4 counties. I can't do that with Pokemon. I tried. I should probably do that, just as like an interesting little addendum to a stream or something. Maybe even this one. Probably not this one, but just look at the Pokemon and try to name all of them. Because I guarantee you, at least as the last time I did it, I was like, I can't do it after like Gen 2.5, like halfway through Gen 3. I'm like, I am naming less Pokemon than I'm not. I'm naming less Pokemon than I am, rather. But yeah, here with the provinces and territories, it's pretty simple. You can go through it like pretty much through top and bottom, north and south, I guess. Again, you know, it doesn't have to be top and bottom, right? Because that's relative. But north and south, you know, you start with like Yukon, you got Northwest Territories, you got Nunavut. And that's the folks that are up there. Below that, you got yourself British Columbia. I mean, when it gets over to the eastern coast, it's gonna get a little bit more confusing because it's not exactly like divided east to west. Some of them are like kind of on top of each other. You got British Columbia, you got Alberta, you got Saskatchewan, you got Manitoba, you got Ontario, you got Quebec. And then past that, it's like you got Nova Scotia, you got Newfoundland, Labrador, you got Prince Edward Island. But those aren't exactly, you know, east to west, or west to east rather. As it typically tends to be in North American eastern coast settlements, because there were just so many of them. Like, you look, the east coast of the United States is very, very much the same way. Just because, I guess, how colonization came about. Also do it with Skylanders and Yokai Watch as well, but I don't get why. That stuff is, like, after my time. Like, that stuff is about as foreign to me as anything. I can name, like, two Skylanders characters. That's Spyro and Cinder. And that's literally just because of the Spyro series. Also the fact that, like, I don't even have very much, you know, involvement in the Spyro series, you know, investment rather, because I played Nintendo systems, not PlayStation ones. Sony ones, rather. Only UK counties I remember are Hampshire, Cornwall, London, and I think Yorkshire. You ask me and I'd be like, Brumbleberry. If I'm gonna be quite honest, and I can say this because I got a British friend. That's a joke entirely, but like, honestly, like, when I think of, like, British culture, my immediate thoughts go to, like, what do they call it? Teaboo? Teaboo culture, where it's, like, the Doctor Who, Sherlock, like, American fans that you saw on, like, Tumblr, like, 5 years ago. Brumbleberry pie, yeah. That's immediately what I end up thinking of. And I don't know, that stuff just never really appealed to me, so maybe I'm writing off an entire, like, sort of set of cultures there. Relatively old ones, obviously, that stemmed from, like, Anglo-Saxon and Celtic, and a lot older culture than what I'm used to, like, over here in Canada. Although admittedly, you know, everybody, you know, you trace it far back enough, comes from, like, an old culture, right? Don't have to go that far with me, with, like, the Japanese side of my family. Obviously, that's a very old culture, but it's a very, very homogenous culture. And